Kaya pepe, 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 kaya pepe. Money champion, at the money champion, at the money champion, at the money champion, at the money champion.
And that's right, folks. Are you ready?
Please play Mosaka to be a triple champion. I play Mosaka. Please play Mosaka.
And tonight, folks, we're going to give you a special political soccer game before we introduce our special guest. So you might just want to get ready. Grab something to drink. Invite a few friends as we can all together have a blast tonight. You know, this is the last day of production for Ashford Garley Live. And we're going to resume the production next week. And we have guests lined up already for next week, folks. I'm telling you. This is getting big up. I just can't seem to control this, you know. It's just for the men above. So very shortly, as soon as we get signal from Information Highway, we're going to begin the show and tell you what we have in store for you tonight. Hello world, hello Liberia. This is yours truly, the brother who doesn't need iron. He's definitely stronger than the lion, and that's why they call him the giant. That now you know, man. The voice of Liberia, the medicine of the microphone, the commanding general of the microphone, the golden voice of Liberia. Make yourselves feel at home. Social distancing. Stay home. Save lives. This is still serious, folks. Don't take this for granted. At the end of the day, we want to also pray for Mama Liberia. We have a political soccer game coming up in just a bit. You might just want to tell friends, relatives, and loved ones. Are you on VIP tonight? Around VIP, still on win or around the field? And today we want to say congratulations to Mrs. Josephine Josie Wullo, and she's the wife of Dr. John Wullo Jr. Mrs. Wullo celebrates her birthday today, and Mrs. Josie Wullo, this birthday shot comes from your husband, your children, family members. And we also want to express our condolences to you, Mrs. Wullo, for the passing of your mother. Stay strong. She's in a better place. With that said, folks, please join me as we welcome Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts out of Information Highway. Mrs. Roberts, welcome. The microphone is all yours.
Evening, Mr. Garley. Good evening. How are you?
Good. I'm blessed.
Very good. You're looking good. I like the shirt.
Thank you. At the end of the week, we try to, wind down a little bit. The too much fancy suits and things, we have to wait until the earlier part of the week,
Yeah, where are you? You look like you're on a soccer field.
Of course. We have this very gigantic soccer pitch that Mr. George is thinking about building besides the sports complex that we already have. So we are just testing this pitch. If he likes it for the country, he will go ahead and do just that. So because of the special political soccer game we have tonight, we decided to come and broadcast live from this soccer pitch. And this soccer pitch is located in Grand Crew County, Liberia. Something that George wants to surprise the world with.
Okay, awesome. Looking good. Well, we want to invite all of our viewers. We want to say good evening and welcome to another Thankful Thursday. As we close out the week, we want to say thanks to God, thanks to our host, thanks to our guests, thanks to our viewers, thanks to our listeners. Did I say enough thanks? We are coming to you live from Chicago and broadcasting from 3 major platforms. Tonight we're coming from Facebook Live, aka Bridge TV. We're coming to you from Bridge Radio Africa YouTube channel and also bridgeradioafrica.com. Thank you for choosing Bridge TV as your choice of information and entertainment. As we close out this week, we say thank you to all those that always take the time to come here and be participants of this platform. We do not take that lightly. We appreciate your dedication because you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here. So right now, we ask you to please share the show. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with someone who you know will be informed by this platform. Please do be respectful of one another, though. Be respectful of our host. And most importantly, do be respectful of our guests. Last but not least, we ask that you please visit bridgeradioafrica.com for more information and entertainment. As you know, on the weekend, we have Club Quarantine, and that has been a very, very good stress reliever. Don't be fooled by the country opening up. It's not clear yet. So we ask that you continue to come to Club Quarantine. Again, thank you for joining us. Back to you, Mr. Garley.
Thank you. And I don't know, what are you drinking tonight, Mrs. Roberts?
Mr. Garley, I don't normally drink a lot, but this evening, I must admit, I had a light stout.
Okay, I see why you told the people we were coming to them from Chicago. We're in Detroit, not Chicago. Okay, this is what I want you to do. Today is the last day for the week. in terms of productivity as it relates to Ashford Garley Live. So we'll spend some time in interacting with our viewers, those who usually take time out to join us. So I just want you to go out and read out a few comments, and then we can hear from the officials of this game and get the ball rolling.
Yes, you are right. That's why I said Chicago. I did realize that after I said it. And I have always said Chicago for some reason. I don't know why, but live from Detroit,
That's
this
right.
is your host, Ashford, the Giant
And
Garley.
and
Now
and,
you know
and,
me.
and we have a celebrity in the house, Miss Fid Nelson. I don't know if you've seen the comedy of Fid Nelson. She's the Liberian native, and this young lady is so talented, and I think we need more of Phil Nelson. She's in the building tonight, Miss Phil Nelson. We are glad that you're in the building, and welcome to Bridge Radio Africa. Go ahead, Mrs. Rabbits.
Hey, thank you. So we have trending from we have also Rocadia Jones and the Prince Mo watching. We have AB Bobley. He says, Chief, you're looking good on. I want that Chief shirt. Oh. Samson Gay writes, hello, Ashford, GQ Giant, Bali. I like the shirt. AB Bobley again. What's up, cuz? Watching live from Bloomington, Minnesota, USA. Socrates the Great. I am missing the real Liberia, not today, Liberia. Ha ha ha. Bloblati Cyrus Snare says, nice song for the Kenyan Pepper Boys. Emmanuel Seaflan. Jemama Seaflan. A.B. Bobley, please share the broadcast or podcast. Josephus Shaw Thomas. Hi to all my Bridge Radio family. A.B. Bobley, I am playing number 9 today. And then we have Caroline Dennis watching. Princess Chosen, she says, hello. Where is this place? Medinian Jabate, all ears to you, sir. Agba Mamalu watching from Washington, D.C. Princess Chosen is looking from Power Mesta. Jacob Tool, the giant, is in the house. Nola Dennis is watching. Tanya Seville is watching. Princess Chosen writes, Miss Brooks, you threw me away, huh? Oh, I'm sorry. No, I did not, Princess. Kalon Zaya is in the building. She says, Ashford, you just like big love. Princess Chosen, everything that grand crew. Bridge Radio Africa. Happy birthday to Mrs. Josie Wulu. You're welcome. Nola Dennis, hi to everyone. Josepha Shai Thomas, congratulations to George Weah and his expedition-led government officials for hard work of putting Liberia on the map of being the first poorest country in the world. We have Faye Nelson. She says, good evening, Liberia family. Bridge TV rocks. Verba Salifu, I am watching. Bill Carson, CDC sold drugs to our youth for 12 years, calling them Zogos today. Take it to the Akaris Grace Weed Bank. And then we have Faye Nelson again. Oh, thanks for the warm shout out. Wayne Sally is in the building. A.B. Bobley, I am breaking Palm Kana at gate 10. We have Edwin N. Clark watching. Suleiman Renner watching from London. Glendy G is in the house. Onike Hawa Newman, she says, watching from Brewerville. And we have Joanna Tyre. Hello. Lyman Shepherd is watching from Brooklyn, New York. Solomon Duana, he says, I am watching from Lotabom County.
Give me 2 more comments, please.
Roberts. I'm sorry?
Give me 2 more comments, please.
Okay. Jerome Roberts is watching. Then we have Stanley. He says, even visually impaired in Liberia, know we are in the road. We are getting there. Last but not least, we have Marie Carter in the house and Tanka Emmanuel Faye. He says, always great show, little brother. Love you, man. Keep up the great job. Back to you, Mr. Garley.
Thank you. Folks, brace yourselves. Grab something to drink. Take your seat, whether you're on VIP or around the field, or you name it. Tell me the gate that you were on, okay? I know Abu Baby Tofo Fana, this at gate 15. And I also see Lama Shepherd. He's on it as well. He's been craving for the political soccer game. We got it for you tonight, just before we introduce our guest. Want to quickly go to the officials. Linesman number 1 is the Senate. Linesman number 2 is the House of Representatives. The Supreme Court of Liberia is the chief referee. The March Commissioner is the United Nations. Mr. Newman Garley is at gate 10. Stanley is in the building. George Weah is on the field. He's the captain for the Liberian national team. And I also see the Natanda McGill. I see Besson Gafinde. I see Samuel Toy, Eugene Nangwe. And I also see Musa Dan, Wilson Tape, Bill Twabwe. Great players on the field this afternoon, folks. I'm telling you, play-by-play description in Grand Crew from the latest soccer stadium built by George Weah. My name Yellow boys. I see corruption. I also see greed. I see Opium King Kong. Dig hole, cover hole. Prostitution. Sex for job. A lot of players on the field tonight, folks, I'm telling you. If this is your first time watching this political soccer game, get ready. I also see domestic terrorism on the field this afternoon. Liberia for sale is also on the field. Life expectancy is anywhere between 41 and 62 for women, 39 and 43 for men on the field as well. Rich in resources, but very poor in human capital. How can you come from a Nobel Prize winner to one of the poorest countries on the face of the earth? Do you remember, is that Katie Miller? The woman that went to Liberia during the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's administration? The More Than Mean Girls? Guess what? I'm told she just had a baby. But under her watch, our daughters were infested with AIDS and HIV in Liberia. You see wickedness? Kelly, more than men. She received millions of dollars in the name of Liberia to help girls. Today, our sisters will live with AIDS for the rest of their lives. But she just had a baby. She's back in America. Her child is healthy. Liberia is just a dumping ground. Hey, Liberia. The ball is now in the middle of the field, folks. The ball comes to George Weah. George Weah, base home and puts it for the turn back. He connects Samuel McGill. To Nathaniel Toy. That's how you do it, is switch up the names. Sometimes Samuel will become McGill, and then Nathaniel will become Toy. These guys are inseparable. You want to call this a serious country? You have some unserious people running the country. And this is just not fair. You know, you come and say, you know, want to do something good for the country. And by the time you get in there, the narrative changes. How do you expect us to move forward? This is just not fair for Liberia. It is also not fair for the people of Liberia. Liberia has always been on the giving end. Liberia sent you the broad when you got your education. You come back to Liberia, Liberia becomes the one to pay your mortgage, pay your student loan, pay your child support, and you still treat the people like dirt in Liberia. December 8th, folks, we have elections in Liberia. Who wants to be a senator? Big question. 15 seats are up for grabs. But when you were in the government, there's something called the Code of Conduct. The president just said in January that if you want to contest, you have to resign your position within 30 days. But guess what? Government officials who intend to run for the senatorial seats are still in offices. Hello? Government officials, ministers, deputy ministers that want to be senators, they are still in their offices, folks. Hello? When you listen to ministers and deputy ministers telling you, when we reach to the code of conduct, we will talk it. When we reach that bridge, we'll cross it. You have already violated the code of conduct. The president just said within 30 days, since January. But you're telling the people that you want to run to be senator. Folks, guess what? And I dare George Weah and his surrogates to deny this. George Weah is not serious when it comes to the code of conduct. As a matter of fact, he's telling his ministers and deputy ministers, hey man, don't resign. When the time comes, just go there. They come up, you violated the code of conduct. What you expect me to do? You're staying in your job, man. They will just talk, they will shut up. So it's because of George Weah that these people are still in their positions, but they want to be senators. On December 8th. No respect for the code of conduct, folks, I'm telling you. Because the president himself is not serious. He doesn't give a damn about this country, and he doesn't care about the people of this country. He's telling them, he's telling ministers, he's telling deputy ministers, those who are interested in becoming senators, keep your present job. and go into the race. I want you to defeat Darius Dillon and defeat Yomli Conga. We need our seats back. We need Monserrato back. We need Grand Bassa back. And that's what this president is telling his people. You call this a serious country? You better pray to God. There's something good come out of Liberia. And then when you look on the other side, those who are supposed to be the opposition, those who call themselves the opposition political parties, they're fighting among themselves. You remember when I told you that Alexander Cummings does not like Benani Ure, and Benani Ure on the other hand does not like Alexander Cummings? You thought I was joking? Clear reality, man. Did you see the press release today? The youth chairman of the ANC confessed to the executive committee, Benjamin Myers. My people, this board has been suspended for 1 year, 6 months because of some type of violation against the party. You want to hear his crime? This boy is the youth chair for the ANC. But Benani Ure went to this boy. They're all supposed to be in CPPO. Benani Ure went to this boy and said to this boy, resign from ANC. I'll make you Secretary General of the ALP. In fact, take the pickup truck, take the cell phone, and here's some money here. But if the CPP is supposed to be working together, why are you discouraging others to leave their own party and come to you? There are serious people there, you see so? You think the people are serious? We've got a lot of work to do. And while you're fighting among yourselves, George Weah is going from county to county. He's building homes, concrete homes that the people never saw before. And he's building roads. He has continued the project that Ellen started. And he has gone beyond. We just keep fighting for small things. And Joseph Yuma Boyka from the Unity Party. This is a very dangerous old man. Don't mind that thing they say, oh, the man can sleep and think that big here. Where George Lobo? You attack George Lobo, man. Joseph Yuma Boyka. You know, he never had a chance, even though he told some things, but Ellen's son's couldn't get all hard time, so they took majority of the wealth, you know. But the old man is not still up there in terms of money. I don't know what you did with the money, the 1.5 million you're getting every year for 12 years. I don't know what you did with it, but guess what? Joseph Yuma Boyka is playing two-handed games. Joseph Boyka will go to Cummings and say, Cummings, don't mind that you man. The war and economical still hanging over your head. I will make you the head of the party. I will make you the head of the coalition, the CPP. But just give my lady, me and old now. So Joseph Boyka will leave from there and go to Benani Ure and say, Ben, you know that Cummings boy is an outsider. Man, that American man. They've been out of here for over 36 years. It will be hard to sell him. But he got plenty of Coca-Cola money.
We choose success.
Let you just bring the money.
We choose success. Wherever
and Ure will start laughing.
you go, the Liberian people, we choose
Then Boyka will go again.
victory.
If you want to know why Cummings is so confident and that he would be the head of the CPP. Because Joseph Human Boyka, who has 28% of the vote, is starting comments that you man can't do nothing, man. The man got stigma on him, you know, that charge of the man. But you comments, you clean. Just do my late thing. I owe now. I will put you on top of the ticket. I'm telling you. And if you see comments going from place to place and telling you that I want no other position, but I want to be the president, these are the kind of conversations they can be having. That your thing you'll be doing, you say Joseph Boyka can sleep, I beg you. The man say he can't sleep. Oh. He say eyelash just too long. So when he bend his head down, his eyelash can cover your eye, make it seem like that he's sleeping. But Jack can hear some kind of envelope, he will stretch your eye open. Oh man, like money. This is the country we'll find ourselves in, folks. I'm telling you. That old man can't sleep. Oh. The kind of decision that old man taking right now, very strategic. And that small man there, old man has been there, done that. And that old man, I'm told, get that away. See, I can easily that don't mind him. Old man has been around for a long time. Back to the field of play. The ball comes to George Weah. George Weah double shovels. He beats one, puts it to the team way. George Weah loses the ball to COP. My people, Liberia get terrorists now. We get terrorists in Liberia, oh my people. The people acting jail we in Iraq. So they got Taliban now in Liberia. My people, you will consume the money around for one point. They block the whole road. You just see fire all over the place. They burn it tire. They doing all kinds of things. Then I listen to my small brother hearing cost out that money. He said, I take responsibility. That how Bin Laden they used to do. When they cause trouble in New York or other parts of the world, then they say they take responsibility. Then our terrorists out there now. That what happening now in Liberia, my people, you be careful. And you know me, I told you already, and I'm part of COP, right? The money I pay that way back, they need to downstart now, and me and I inside. I've been telling you. My wife stay with them. So when you're calling her, you might not say Ashford, you might call her knee. Come here, and I'm part of it. And I'm part of the government, and I'm part of COP, and I'm part of CPP, because they say the CPP that the kind of thing, the kind of negotiation better now Europe and coming to they call it the Congo People Party, or that CPP, Congo People Party. That's what they're doing now. Then we come to the code of conduct. You have ministers and deputy ministers that's supposed to resign following the president's pronouncement. They won't resign. The president said, "Don't resign." When the Congo people they didn't obey the code of conduct. Why should we obey it now? Y'all sit down there. When it's time for election, y'all go vote. The chairperson of the election commission is my girlfriend. Anything I tell her that what she would do. You think that small thing can happen in December? You think Liberia is a serious country? The president can take time out to tell you not to obey the code of conduct, but he cannot enforce the rule of law in the country. That serious country there now? That serious country there? Back to the field of play. The ball comes to George Weah. George Weah double shovels. He beats one man. George Weah, a.k.a. Greedy Hunter, a.k.a. Shine Alone, a.k.a. the best president ever, a.k.a. When I go outside and bring money in the country, the money is not for Liberia. It's my own money. This is a man who calls himself president. One of the reasons why he calls himself the feminine of chief is because he sleeps with women in exchange for jobs. The man feels he owns the country.
Everybody shake it for me.
Look, George Weah is putting you under the impression that he owns the country so that he brings his brother-in-law in the country. This man goes to the interior part of the country and start to dig gold. He moves to another section of the country and tell the people to birch. When you birch for a whole year, you ain't stop. I will make Liberia an empire. The people in Grand Bassa can they call him our partner? You can't go make Jamaica an empire that Liberia made empire. What kind of trouble is he so? Cloud Weah that's supposed to be the mother of Liberia. While we're going through hardships with something they call Corona, she gets on the charter flight that came to carry American citizens. She gets on the flight and moves to New York, but she's still in the budget.
I want Liberian loose down.
1.5 M US dollars.
I want Liberian loose down.
You call this a serious country?
I want Liberian people.
You call this a country friend?
Yes. I want Liberian people.
The thing you're doing to Liberia. Many Akara's Moses Gray that were living in a place called Entrée Couché. When a Frenchman say Entrée Couché, it means you in a studio, right down Slipway. Never saw dentist in his life until he came to America as representative.
Success. I want Liberian people.
This man that used to wear one socks over and over, and he used to pass all around with smelling feet. Today he's lying down at a home with swimming pool.
Victory, victory.
You come to power, poor boy, from the dirt. Within 60 to 90 days, you put up a mansion. We have people that Jackson Dole doing the top administration. They serve a minister. They never completed the home because they were afraid of their names. Back then, when our parents were living, there was something called LPA. It took my father 5 years to pay for a bedroom set. 3 years to pay for 5 bundles of zinc. 5 bundles of zinc. Another 10 years to take the house to roof level. You know, you were growing up, we used to call the new houses and the old, look at that, go beyond that old house. Now they just start building the hustle. But because your parents were so poor, it would take them forever to build a house. But look at politicians today. They are building mansions within 60 days, within 90 days. You work in Liberia, but you purchase a home for $450,000, $500,000 in America. Your children can come to America for vacation, but you were just a poor boy the other day. I go back with Moluba Molu for over 37 years. When I was in the 8th grade, Moluba Molu was in the 7th grade, about certain age. The poor Loman boy. Look at Moluba Molu today. He wants to do the Rolexes, the Mercedes, the Jaguar. Within 3 years, man. Jefferson coaching Mr. Blanc 17 continent. The boy that could better brush his teeth. Look at him today. The country finished, man. Only God can help us now. And for the opposition to start working among themselves to do something. You have bad plans and now God will begin to confuse you. We all know that George Weah is not qualified. We know that George Weah is unfit. But why are you people not doing the things to encourage the people? To convince the people that you will do better than George Weah? Fighting among yourselves. And then you will get her, you say, I want my daughter to be the representative. My daughter will get her. My daughter, yeah, go ahead. You're the vice chair now for political affairs. Somebody tell you, so, my party, I can take any position to give me. And the son coming gets up, he becomes the chairman of CPP. The next thing you know, you see, my man, even though either Gonglo ways for Nima too, she expressed her intention long time to be one of the contestants. Come and say that I woman I want. These are some of the things we have to deal with, folks. And you can't even trust Yombli Kanga. Yombli Kanga, my small sister, who on the radio, they were teenagers around there, you know. And playing that for them with the Serial Island. My name, but anyway, like, hey. So where are you tonight? Are you on gate 15? I know Ashford Garley is on gate 10. No school to either side. George Weah still claims that he would teach you people a lesson. But how George Weah not say he would teach you a lesson? You ain't go nowhere you're fighting. And there are some of the people said, if you're ready one for they see people to work, when you sign that paper, you might not come and say we don't want to be there again. Because when you do that, then the people then who are pulling the weight behind you, they will decide to change their mind. But the reason why Alexander Cummings is so confident is because Joseph Human Boycott is a tricky old man. Not fun. When you go to Europe, you say Europe, I mean, outside of man. The Mexicans be in it, darling. They bring the man say. Then you kind of comments. Don't mind that Europe man. You know, you got the economy and war crank over your hair, you know. They bring even let him. Just spending your money for nothing. And to Cummings now, you know, worker wants him to be the head. And that's why everybody you see Cummings, he will tell you, I want no other position but the presidency. Because the man that's supposed to be the heavyweight among the opposition is telling him, oh man, you know, they element will hell on me. Right now, it's red. And then they're going to pull a fire. And so Cummings do it there. Yeah, you know, me on my side. Hey, LIBERIAN. Then you have people who don't even understand the code of conduct. They're telling you that they want to contest, but the time passed already. Since January, the president said, you know, the code of conduct thing here. If you want to be somebody now in the senatorial race, resign your job. And in an event where someone then wanted to resign, the president said, no, don't resign. That's also low. When you come up here, there, ain't that the same thing that went on? My girlfriend, that the chairperson of the National Election Commission, just stay there, man. So that's why you see some people still confident, even though they have already violated the code of conduct, but they will contest. You know why? Because we got Kwekukwe, the man who owns the country. I want LIBERIAN player. Anything he says goes. George Weah for you. I want LIBERIAN people. At this time, folks, I want LIBERIAN people. The game has come to a momentary standstill. I want to introduce to you our special guest tonight. Brace yourselves. Grab something to drink. Get the popcorn rolling. But now you know me.
Liberian people, we choose success. Our Liberian people, we choose success. Wherever you play, wherever you go.
And that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we'll listen to be welcome to you. At this time, please allow us to say happy birthday to Mrs. Josie Wulo. She's the wife of Dr. John Wulo. He's the professor of the universities of Maryland and Alabama. And he wants us to express the birthday wishes to his lovely wife, Mrs. Josie Wulo. And we also want to use this time to express our condolences to Mrs. Lowe. She just lost her mother. Uh, you know, stay strong, Mrs. Lowe, and we hope that her soul rest in peace. Want to go back to Information Highway now. Mrs. Letty Brooks Rabbit is standing by. Please read us a few comments before we introduce our special guest, Mrs. Rabbits.
Sure. So we have trending coming from Josepha Shah Thomas. He says, but you can begin membership with the free position movement. But God, I can't get this guy's name. Ballah Kemah. He says, we have to show to Weah that he's not above the law. Samantha Jones is in the building. Aaron Sled says, Liberia is bleeding. Samuel Carson Williams, Liberians are jokers, man. Steve Bully is in the building. God anointed favorite Moore. Malubab was my classmate in Vassar Teenage. Arthur Dennis is in the house. Josepha Shai Thomas, I am at gate number 2. Steve Foley replying to Steve. Tanya Seville, hello, mama. Sandor B. Johnson, Ashford the Giant Garley. I am at gate number 10. Born anointed, favorite Moore. Ha ha ha. Steve Foley replying to Steve. Lima Shepherd, they still are the most beautiful women on earth. Josephus Todd Thomas. We need a social contract to be signed by the CPP. We have Dr. Millie Brooks Peters in the building. Christopher A. Kamara. Most of you guys misused your opportunity for 12 years, sending girlfriends overseas. Why blame others for using theirs the right way? Homo M. Money. He says, now so it be. Emmanuel Elsa is in the house. Phil Dolby says, nah, not their time, not their time. Liberia, be elephant meat. Wait for your time. Even you were there. You will do the same. Wow. Okay, and last but not least, we have Peter White. He says, Mr. Garley is against Mr. Gray for nothing. Representative Gray has been representative for a long time. So, Mr. Garley, do you want Gray to be like you? Oh, wow.
Well,
and we have...
One more. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you want to answer that?
No, go ahead. One more. No,
yes.
That's how you say
Kali Jaffa Bolu writes, Liberia is crying for being the 4th poorest country in the world. Correction, it's the number 1 poorest country. Mika Yisia is in that building. Back to you, Mr. Garley, to our special guest.
I would not voice to say the number 1 poorest country because we're still trying to check things out. The last time we checked, Liberia was the 4th poorest country. So we're still checking and we're trying to authenticate as to whether Liberia is the number 1 poorest country. So we can't just hear stuff and run with it. You know, we British Radio Africa, we've got to be very careful. And I know I misspoke yesterday by saying the number 1, but we're still waiting to get the actual data as to where Liberia ranks in terms of poverty around the world. With that said,
Mr. Garley, it is authenticated. We are number 4th. I gave you the top 5.
you said we are number 4th.
We're number 1.
I didn't see where you got that data from. So if you can please send it to me, I would appreciate it.
USA Today. I will send you the article. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay, two eyes up, at the better. Okay, folks. Dr. Kemah, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Garley. My honor and pleasure to be here.
Well, who is Dr. Ballah Kemah? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
First and foremost, I'd like to say thanks to you, Mr. Garley. Like I said, it's an honor to be invited on your platform.
You are over modulating. You might want to decrease the volume to the microphone.
Decrease the volume. Okay, let's do that right now. How about now?
A little bit louder. A little bit louder.
Okay. How about now?
Now you're good. Go ahead.
It's perfect. Okay. Yeah, I want to thank you in a special way, Mr. Garley, for inviting me, to be a part of your platform tonight. And also, I want to greet your guests as well, listening from Liberia or in these United States of America or in anywhere in the diaspora. I'd imagine you have a very huge reach. So I'd like to greet everybody, and including the wonderful lady who's reading along with you tonight. I'd like to greet everybody. It's an honor and a pleasure. Like you said, my name is Ballah Kemah. I was born in Liberia, started my high school, did high school in Liberia, started college in Liberia, came to these United States of America and went further and did what I had to do here. And I look forward to the conversation tonight and how I am going to be of any asset in any way tonight.
Now, what Dr. Kemah bring to the table as it relates to Liberia? I see you on the social media, and I see you doing some type of Liberian politics. Are you passionate about Liberian politics, or you just want to make good use of your profession to make sure that it benefits our Liberian brothers and sisters back home?
Oh, well, I mean, it's first and foremost, I'd like to dispel what would occur to me to be something that a lot of people who've been following my content so far, to a large extent, a good percentage of the people who've been following it probably are misunderstanding to a very large extent the purpose of of me being a part of the social media experience right now in the Liberian community. I do absolutely do not intend to be involved in the politics of things, although sometimes it's almost impossible to indulge in trying to talk about the pressing problems in Liberia and do that void of mentioning politics. And so every so often you might hear me mention politics because it would occur to me that that's the leading concern of almost every Liberian that I know. I see a lot of people tend to indulge a lot into the political arena, and I come from the perspective that in order for us to come out of this shame and disgrace that we are facing right now as a nation, even you guys are pretty much debating who's the poorest country, if Liberia is, or the fourth. I don't even care at this point if you're in the first 10 poorest countries on earth. You should just consider yourself derailed as a country. So regardless of Liberia's place on that list, I think it's very much disgraceful to know that we, including Ethiopia, are the two oldest independents in Africa, and to know that Ethiopia, and when you look at Ethiopia and Liberia, the distinction is so vast. It's very disgraceful. So at this point, I don't think we should be talking about are we number 4 or are we number 1. The bottom line is if you're in the first 10 poorest countries on earth, is a disgrace to one of Africa's oldest independents. And I think so. I believe that rather than going the political route, we've indulged into politics over the decades, and we've seen what's happened as a result of this politicking. Even what happened recently in the past day or two, we've seen tires being burned in the country. And if you listen to my platform, I'm trying to adjudicate on the fact that, as a matter of fact, when I came to the Liberia Facebook scene, I came through SKTV, where I started to teach on pressing health issues in Liberia. I did a course on hypertension, hyperglycemia, hyperlipidemia, and all that. But then I realized that the actual medical problem that's facing Liberia is really mental.
And speaking of,
so I decided to.
And speaking of SKTV, I think that was the first time I saw you, and I was inspired. I'm like, you know what? We have this young man who is coming, educating us about heart disease and things like this, And then later on, you flipped. What happened?
I flipped.
You got so angry, and
Yeah, I did.
Liberians are not accustomed to certain kind of vocabulary, and
right.
You went off, and this was a huge turn off for a lot of our brothers and sisters. What happened?
Well, first of all, before I say what happened, that turn off could also be looked at as the beginning of a turn on, and the most needed turn on. We don't want everybody to turn on to the wrong things. And so the reason for my flip, and I wouldn't say flip, the reason for my very temporary pivot is, like I said, we've been talking about all of these disease states, and I try to help our community and help people who are the least fortunate, to try to help themselves, because we know those are pressing diseases in Liberia. People just die very easily from health issues that when well managed, they would have an opportunity. But the reason for the pivot is I decided to execute on the mental side of things, because as I looked at the entire population, as far as the Facebook encounters, and I tried to look at the parallels between the things that we are prioritizing as a country compared to the very same things that we prioritized 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago. The parallels are very much frightening. And why is that parallel frightening? It's simply because the same kinds of mindsets under which we operated when we prioritized these things are those very same kinds of mindsets that led to the 1989 war, maybe even before that, the 1979 rice riot, and the likes. And to prove my point, we just saw just about a day or two ago, we saw this burning of tires on the streets of Monrovia. And so people who criticized me for being too tough on us, all of a sudden, I'm saying Liberians are this and that. The fact of the matter is, my point was proven that in just about a day or two ago, the vulnerability of the people came to bear when you seen people so willingly getting on the street to burn tires again. Now, you may say it's just burning tires, but the mindset that lead to that kind of encourages people to act like that is the exact same kind of thinking that led to the wars in the past. Like I said, the 1989 war, which went on for perhaps 14 plus years, and then and before that, we saw what happened, the coup of Tolbert, and so forth and so on. So this kind of mindset has to be dispelled from our general population in order for Liberia to have a chance of any kind of relevance on this God's green earth. And so I realized that maybe I should pivot a little bit from this healthcare thing and get to the mental health side of things. And that's why. Well,
perhaps, and maybe you can further explain, perhaps you are being misconstrued, that others who say, yes, he's a very sound young man, he's from Liberia, we are proud of his accomplishments, but others see you as being very dismissive, condescending, and arrogant. That criticism is correct.
Yeah, I think not just the I can understand this criticism, because this criticism, I think, to a large extent, comes as a result of the endemic national mental well-being of the country. Right? People are not used to people just talking differently. Just hitting the real problem. Meeting the problem where it is and trying to fix it there. And a lot of people, like you said, think I'm being condescending or arrogant, and I do get a lot of those comments on my videos and stuff like that. But I think for them to say that will be vastly ill-advised, and the reason is very simple. If you notice, every time I talk about, as a matter of fact, I tend to go after us in the diaspora a lot more than I go after people residing at home. And I would always put myself in there and say we have disappointed not only ourselves to a large extent, and I always talk on a percentage basis. I don't go after the entire group. I say on a percentage basis, to a large extent, those of us in the diaspora have disappointed Liberia. And I think, to a very reasonable extent, most of the problems you see that the country is actually faced with right now are problems that are due to either actions or inactions of people in the diaspora. And so I think it's fair enough to go after those of us in the diaspora and say most of these problems are actually due to either our actions or our inactions. But the bottom line is well-meaning, right? Nobody wants to continually hear about the country from whence he comes, about which place amongst the poorest country on earth does Liberia, or can Liberia be placed? You see what I'm saying? So these are things, and we know the potential that Liberia has, right? Liberians, I believe, with every fiber of my being, are the most talented people on the continent of Africa. We are the most hospitable people. In my understanding and in my personal conviction, I believe Liberians are blessed the most when it comes to doing whatever one wants to do, if he or she puts his or her mind to it and decide that he or she wants to do it. But I just think that where we have been investing our effort for damn near 50 plus years has been ill-advised, and we're still doing the same thing, and yet we are hoping for different results. That's where I am, and I think it's very unfortunate.
But I still on your personality. There are some who still believe that you have some type of temperament. In Liberia, we say they make a quick temper. Yesterday, you put out a post, and was this lady who is way older than you commented on the post, and your response to this lady was, "You lack comprehension." Is that
I didn't put up a post yesterday. Focus on Liberia tagged me on a post because they invited me as a guest on their show on.
Already, perhaps you lack comprehension.
Yes. Yeah. So well, I think I don't know. Maybe it was misconstrued what I was saying. Well, because she tried to represent me as, and I'm trying to defend the character, but she actually tried to represent me as saying every Liberian, everything I said, she said, I think she intentionally did it. And obviously there are trolls, all right? There are people who don't like what I'm doing. There are people who don't like the fact that I'm saying the vast majority of us in the diaspora have actually disappointed the country. A lot of people in the American diaspora media space don't like the fact that I say, don't listen to us because we got nothing to offer you because we can't help ourselves, which are true. And so they're all true around. Now, I think she intentionally misrepresented that message of mine, trying to say that I cover the entire Liberian population, including people in Liberia. And I say everybody is, is to a large extent mentally derailed. So I try to correct her. I said, look, either you are maybe not able to comprehend what I'm saying, or you are intentionally trying to misconstrue what I'm saying. And then she started trying to be very comical about it and started saying, well, you can talk to the third grade and first grade level. So then I just left it at that because I understood exactly what she was trying to do. I believe that perhaps whether she's older than me or not, which I respect that, but regardless of people's age, if they're all trolls, they're trolls. I don't think it matters the age of a person. But I was just trying to say to her, look, listen, and I even invited her. I said, look, you can watch Ashford Garley show this evening. I will try to explain to the Liberian people the purpose of my appearance, of my very frequent, my very seldom appearance on social media, because maybe you're misunderstanding it, and I guess that's what that was about.
So Ballah, there were some folks, especially our sisters here, better, we have only one country, we need our Liberian brothers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
moving forward, what would you then say to those who have perceived that you offended them in the past? What did you say to them so that we move on to something else and talk about what brings you in tonight?
Well, look, listen. Look. Like I said, people, God has. We as humans are all endowed with our abilities to comprehend or deduce whatever we want to deduce on Earth, right? Anyone who means well would see that my purpose, or every time I come on on Facebook, right? My reason is not to go after anyone or say anything specific. My reason is to try to dispel what has been the endemic mental conditioning of this country for generations, right? That's my at least you would say very recent purpose, perhaps. So if someone misunderstands what I'm saying and they feel offended, it's unfortunate that they feel that way. I'm not going to be able to stop them, because I will continue to do what I do for as long as I can, because I have a purpose. You know what I mean? So for doing it, I have a reason for doing it. And in fact, it hasn't even been 2 days, and look what happened. People are burning tires in the street. So that's what I'm trying to talk about. I'm saying, look, we can talk about the politics all day, and I enjoy the introductory part of your show. I love that stuff. But we all know that politicking, it's not what's going to take Liberia to where she is. Like we're talking about, Liberia is the first poorest country on earth, or the fourth. Well, it's not politicking that's going to take Liberia from this place. What's going to take Liberia to a place of relevance and take Liberia out of that zone of being one of the poorest country on earth is not politics. We've tried this in the past, and we've seen nothing but bloodshed. We've seen nothing but chaos, anarchy, catastrophe. So there has to be a mental shift. So people are going to continually, unfortunately, feel offended by what I'm saying. But it's all for the betterment of the country. So like you said, we need to come together, and maybe we all have different approaches as to how we want to do it. But I feel like in the media space, we haven't been adjudicating enough on real meaningful results to Liberia's problems. Everything we talk about is politics. You can bring the politicians from now to Judgment Day of the past. Nothing is going to change. So I feel like that's just where I want to be at for now.
Well, Ballah, let us talk about something that you're so passionate about: child, teenage sexual exploitation. I listened to you, I believe, last week, and I was all in. When you started to, talk about the exploitation of our sisters, brothers, our children. So I want you to begin the conversation touching on that.
Well, I mean, it's
passionate about this.
Yeah. So it's just another aspect of that mental shift that needs to happen in Liberia, I guess. Things like the sexual exploitation that has been endemic in Liberia forever, or at least ever since I could comprehend, right? I feel like this is something that has to be approached or has to be addressed with a lot more urgency than we're applying to this matter right now, right? Because too many of our young people, I think you just saw, and a lot of Liberians just saw this, I think it was a 50-year-old little girl who became impregnated. I mean, there are many stories like that, but her story was specifically brought to bear, right? And you see this stuff being continual in the country, and people reward people for doing that, in several different ways. I think we need to apply a lot more urgency to this matter, because this is another way that an entire generation is going to be wiped away mentally without us even thinking about it. All right, we take it for granted. Young children needing assistance, perhaps their parents aren't in the picture anymore, or perhaps their parents are deceased, or whatever the situation may be, and they just need some kind of help to advance in life. And most of us in a Liberian society abuse that need of the child and try to exploit them sexually. This is something that is very pressing in Liberia. I mean, it's like I said, ever since I've been able to comprehend, I've seen this as a stylish thing. Young girls even brag about it, like, oh, I got this person doing this for me, and all of that. He's married and this and that, and both ways. I mean, young boys are also being abused. So I feel like this should be something that has to be addressed in a more urgent manner. And in addition to that, we are looking away from the people who are going to lead this country in about the next 20, 30 years from now. The young people, we are looking down on them, and not just looking down on them, we are feeding them perpetually with the wrong kind of information, right? We are making these people to think that the only way to relevance in that society has to be through politics. And that's why you see the young people from morning to night on the street, Amanda, Awezu, burning tires, all these things. This is the kind of mental conditioning of Liberia that has to be diverted, or else every time you Mr. Garley and your counterparts come on social media to talk about the problems of the country through politics and all that, it will mean nothing if we don't address the mental conditioning of the people. Because 20 years from now, you can build the skyscrapers in Liberia and leave people's minds very, very vulnerable. They're going to be the same people that burn those skyscrapers, burn down, destroy those, what you call it, roads or whatever people want. So what needs to be done right now is we need to try to get away from this politicking a little bit, and let's focus on the real problem of Liberia, which is that mental.
But I was in LIBERIAN the February of last year. Before then, 2018, I went to Liberia 5 different times, and our little sisters are in trouble. Our little brothers are also in trouble. When you hear the opposite sex telling you we are old now, all these men want the girls within the ages of 13 to 15, and you will actually see the girls within those ages range would be the head of the household. And in some instances, they will instruct the parents to do so and do that because of the lack of employment. And when you see a young girl going to ask somebody who is in power to say, I want to go to school, I need a scholarship, and the person's response would be like, you have to give me sex in exchange for that, but you from the outside looking in, I'm told you have special interest in going to Liberia to perhaps try to change this narrative. What would be your approach?
Well, I so there are several interests in Liberia. One particular one that's going to be based out of an entrepreneurial perspective, which has to do with just medicine, right? So that's there. Now, your question as to what I would be doing in Liberia to try to help dispel this.
That's right.
And the good thing about social media and technology is the fact that I don't even have to have been in Liberia to start such a conversation. And to be honest, I've seen several people in the Facebook space also trying to adjudicate on this as well. I've seen some of the female Facebook hosts also talk about this sexual problem in Liberia. Now, currently I work with a youth organization in Liberia called itself the Innovative and Visionary Volunteers of Liberia. Through that organization, I intend to do as best as I can to help with this particular issue. But this is just one of the many pressing issues that have to be addressed in Liberia, right? In addition to this sexual exploitation, we also have to take a look at the continual adverse information that we are feeding young people. And I see a couple of the comments from your viewers saying, he's doesn't seem to be, this and that. But the fact of the matter is, I don't expect people to like when you come and trying to say something other than what the masses are focused on. I know the masses are focused on the politics. All right, it's very easy to get involved in the political arena.
And Ballah, in this instance, you are the star out there. You don't have to pay attention to them. You know.
Perfect. Yeah. So
to the time, so just still focus on do what you got to say. Leave them alone. They will talk, or you have no control over that. You know, they're behind the.
No. That's fine. The reason why I actually mentioned that is to sort of prove my point that it's a very it's a very uncomfortable thing when people try to speak to the facts. It's very easy for everyone to just blend in and do the same things. Unfortunately, in this case, the same things are the very things that has caused the country to be as a spectacle of disgrace on the surface of this God's green earth. So what we need to do is, in addition to dealing with this sexual exploitation, which is that we also generally we need to focus on prioritizing the mental well-being of the youth of Liberia, right? Example, rather than encouraging young people to get on the streets, right, to be vulgar, to be violent, right? Let's try to have several discussions with these young people. Ask them, what exactly are they wanting out of their country? What do they want to see accomplished? Whatever their complaints are about the government, ask them, what kind of resolutions do you guys think you can propose that we can all work together on and try to bring some form of solace to this problem, rather than just sitting from your comfort in America or living in your wherever you live, you reside, and just perpetually trying to encourage violence in a place because you're comfortable where you are in these United States of America. And this is where a lot of them differ with me, because we all reside in America, and I don't find it funny. I don't find it comfortable to me to know that a lot of you reside in these United States of America are abusing the fact that, to a large extent, you deal with a population of perhaps nearly 80% on illiterate people. So as a result, you feel like you could just sit from America and say what you want to say, encourage any kind of violence, knowing that people are going to be prone to these things. So a lot of these people are not operating out of love. They are operating out of selfish aim, and this kind of stuff has to be dispelled as well. So the first step is to actually try to cater to the mental well-being of the young people of Liberia, because as we know, Africa is very young, right? And Liberia is actually one of the youngest countries in Africa. So if we perpetually feed our youth this kind of poisonous information on a continual basis, you would come to find that 15, 20, 30 years from now, when you tire living in America and you tire struggling, working 9 to 5, and you want to go home to go relax, the very people you've been feeding this very poisonous information are now in authority and will continue to propagate this negative attitude, and as a result, you got no place of peace to stay. Then you got to come back in America and end up in a nursing home. So what we need to do is actually focus on trying to redirect the thinking of our youthful population, rather than trying to spew this continual violence. And this is very unfortunate. It's unfortunate that a lot of people can't see it this way. A lot of people think we should continue to sit all day and talk about CPP, COP, CDC, all this stuff, knowing that you can talk about the politics as much as you want for as long as you want, but it's not going to take us anywhere. And that's just
okay. With that said, Ballah, next we are going to touch on the healthcare system in Liberia. We want to take a few calls right now, and
all right, let me grab a pen so I can write down questions.
Question for Ballah. The number is 248-979-1718, and get a notepad, because I would take the call in sequence, and then we'll get back to you. At this time, I believe we have Miss Hawa Mesgar on the line from Colorado. Hawa, hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Garley. Thanks for I'm going to check in specifically to your guest today on this platform. I have not been commenting because I've been waiting to get my turn to talk, and to discipline myself today, as much as I'm very disturbed that somebody will come on your platform, very deceptive. And portray a certain behavior on this platform, but that's not what his platform entails. I'm going to read a quote about Malcolm X. I see him talking about the actions of people in Liberia and the diaspora, but he's not talking about the cause effect. So I'm going to go ahead and read a quote from Malcolm X, because I think when we want to call people out about mental illness and mental issues, we should also have expertise in that, because I think this doctor is a doctor in medicine, not the holistic effect of it. So I'm going to read a quote by Malcolm X, and I'm going to go ahead and state my point on why I read this quote. Malcolm X said, if you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pulled it out 6 inches, there's no progress. If you pulled it all the way out, that's not progress. Progress is healing the wound that the blow made. And they haven't even pulled the knife out, much less heal the wound.
I want to just say something real quick. I want to say something real quick, Mr. Garley. I think for some reason, Miss Lescott.
No, when she.
No. I can't. She's breaking up. That's why I'm listening.
You're listening, right?
Yeah, I'm listening, but she was breaking up. I couldn't hear her too well. That's what I was saying.
Okay. Let's just go ahear and speak. Can you hear her now?
Okay, should I read the quote? Should I read?
Yes, I can hear her now. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a reason why I'm reading this quote, and I'm going to go into the whole essence of it. Malcolm X wrote a quote, made a quote almost 50 years ago, talking about the purpose, the importance of healing, because one have to recognize the cause of the problem, not jump into the action. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Howard.
All right. He said, if you stick a knife in my back, I'm hearing myself though.
Okay, hold on, Howard. Hold on, Howard. This is 713 number. The last 4 digits of your number, 3791. Please mute your phone. Thank you. Go ahead, Howard.
All right, thank you, sir. There was a reason why I went to read this quote to the audience and to this platform before I jump into the essence of it all. Malcolm X made a quote 50 years ago talking about the importance of healing, and the reason why before people get healed, there have to be the dialogue about the cause effect. What makes people to react and what makes people to act the way they act? There's a problem there, and then before you can even acknowledge the result of the healing, you must acknowledge the problem. He said, if you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. If you pulled it all the way out, that's not progress. Progress is healing the wound that the blow made, and they haven't even pulled the knife out, much less heal the wound. Why did I say this? A few weeks ago, I was on this individual platform, your Guest Today platform. An individual called his platform, who is a big seditious. Everybody knows him. He insults people, insults women. Your guest is a professional. He talks about mental health. He sat on his platform while a man degraded women. He called us women advocates in the United States who are in our 40s and our 30s, and we're sleeping around. We had all children. We do nothing about our life. This your guest today do not know me, nor know any of the other women advocates. He said, talking about mental illness, he laughed and he giggled while a man demeaned several women advocates. Like Yesenia Martin and the rest of the women, and he laughed and he giggled. And as I was typing on his show and saying, wow, you say you're a doctor and somebody is demeaning women and calling us out. You don't know me, neither know any of those other women. And you laughed and you giggled. And they didn't even correct his guest. He even asked his guest, do you need more time? Glennie G was also on that show, was an audience watching that platform, and she was very disturbed about that because I read her comments. I also tagged you, Mr. Garley, and some of the men on that I respect on that show. Why do I say this? We keep talking about mental illness and mental abuse. Abuse is not just when a man hits a woman with a knife or a belt, or a woman hit a man with a belt or insult her. Abuse is also psychological. When an individual who says he's a professional, he comes on here and portrays all these things, but he has a talk show. He says so many things on his talk show. Some of them just say they're moving in America, don't do it for themselves. I even commented and I said, well, you don't know all of us. I don't just stay in America. I'm present in Liberia.
And how are you? You're way over your time. So just please wrap it up.
I know. I'm going to go ahead. But I'm just saying, in order for us to have a dialogue and for us to go forward as a people, we must acknowledge the problem. We must also understand other people's stories. We must not conclude because you have not lived the reality and it doesn't affect you, for you to also conceive each and other people.
Thank you.
Before we can talk about mental illness and other people, let let's start from the roots. Why does this even happen? That a man on your platform, with even another man will come his show insulting women, why he
Thank you,
laughs and
Howard. I think
giggles.
he got your concern. He will
Yeah,
respond to
thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay, we have 3791. Last 4 digits of your number. Tell us your name.
Yes, Ashford, the giant Garley. This is Saul McCarthy.
Hey, Saul, what's up?
Your
My
Jordan man.
my childhood friend from Jallastown, Reverend
Yes, sir.
Reverend
Yes, sir.
Sai. What's up, my brother?
Yes,
Welcome
sir.
to the show.
Well,
I am
thank you so
humble.
much. Look, I you know what? I've been following your show today, and I have to say I'm impressed by the format. I'm impressed by the intro. I do have a question for your guest, though, because I think your guest he's passionate about what he believes, and I think he's trying to make a point, but he comes across as being overly simplistic in his views, and to ascribe the problems with Liberia and people protesting to mental illness, I think it's too simplistic. So my question is, I have 2 questions. The first question is, does the guest believe that the recent protests in America with Black Lives Matter, where people are in the street protesting and burning cars, does he believe that those people who are protesting, they have mental problems? That's the first question I have for him. The second question for the guest is that does he not believe that issues such as poverty, lack of education, of enforcement of the laws in Liberia in relation to sexual abuse, does he not believe that those other things are factors into why people behave the way they behave and not just mental problems? Those are my 2 questions, my friend, and thanks for indulging me. I appreciate it.
Okay, that's the voice.
Yeah.
Hold on, Ballah. You would.
No, I was saying I think his second question wasn't clear. The second question wasn't that he was breaking up. I didn't get it.
Oh,
The second question, yeah.
okay, hold
That's
on.
the reason.
I think we still have him. Saad, he is saying your second
Yes.
question was not clear.
The second question is, he going back to the first, where he's saying that most of the mental problems in Liberia, or most of the issues in Liberia, has to do with mental problems. Will he not agree that issues such as poverty, the lack of education, the lack of the political will to enforce the laws in the country as it relates to sexual abuse, will he not attribute those factors to some of the reasons why these things are happening in the country, and not just simply mental illness?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I know the voice of Saad McCarty from Houston, and I have Dr. Peters on the line. I said, we got Dr. then you're calling. Dr. Peters is on the line. Hello, Doc.
Hey, Ashford, how are you?
Good, sis. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I have listened to your guest, and like your sister said earlier, he's a professional man. He holds a title that most of our people in Liberia that are struggling today would honor as a doctor in the country. Holding that title brings a lot of burden in regards of education, in regards of self-discipline, in regards of respectable personalities in your community. So demeaning women and having a laughter about it, I don't think that's a good way to go for a young man. I was trying to wait on your next topic to talk about the health in the country, because if you talk about mental health illness, what methodology are you guys using at this point? Instead of coming on talk shows and being very angry and showing your rage on talk show, what are the methodology that we as Liberians are using now to go back to Liberia, bring our youth together, hold the youth accountable for their action, train them in what we think we can do to move that country forward and do our best for our country? But we all sit in this country, we're very angry on talk shows. were very angry on Facebook. We talk a lot about the politics in the country. What are we doing as professionals in this country, working with the professionals in Liberia? That's my question.
Thank you. We'll have 2 more callers, and then you can come in, Ballah. We have Moses
What's that?
on the line.
What's that doctor's name? What's that lady's name again? The doctor? What's her name again?
Dr. Peters.
Peters. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Moses, you're live on the radio.
Hi, Mr. Garley, and hi to your studio guests and the listening audience here this afternoon or tonight.
And I know you love Liberian women, but we don't have enough time tonight, so I beg you, my brother, just to the point.
I'd like to start off by saying Dr. Ballah agrees with me that Liberian people are the most important people. That's why we are talking about them. And also you, Mr. Garley, agree with me also that the Liberian women are the most beautiful women on earth. If I skip that, the Liberian women will get mad at me, so I don't want to do that, Mr. Garley. But let me get to the question quick. I'm finding it hard to reconcile 2 questions here with Dr. Ballah. The first question I find hard to reconcile is the fact that Dr. Ballah claims publicly to have an interest as a political person, a professional person in Liberia, in terms of whether that business or investment or whatever it is, and yet Dr. Ballah seems to be more biased towards the government. Don't you think that is a conflict of interest? In my honest view, as a professional, that's one. The second question I'm having hard time getting from Dr. Ballah here is Dr. Ballah's expertise is in pharmacology or pharmacy, however you want to term it. Yeah, Dr. Ballah is speaking more on psychological issues, which I believe he took some classes. But my question to him and my concern is in his approach of how he wants to address the issue, wherein he's jumping the gun straight to just addressing all the young people and everything that happened in Liberia. He's claiming for it to be a psychological issue. My question is, where those people who are perpetrators, the factors that are leading to some of this behavior and these actions, what is his view on it? Who are causing these things, especially with the political environment, the current government, and all of that? Don't he really think that these are some of the issues that are creating the chaos and the confusion and emboldening people to even act the way they're acting, whether that's psychologically or mentally? Those will be my 2 questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The voice of Steve Boley. We'll now go back to Dr. Ballah Kemah. Mr. Kemah, you have the microphone, and please respond to these questions.
Hey, Mr. Garley, I want to thank you once again. All right. What I'll do is I will kind of lump together Ms. Hawa Mesquit's concerns along with Dr. Peters' concerns, because I think they're kind of intertwined. First and foremost, I think I called you, Mr. Garley. We talked about this, the Hawa Mesquit's situation. And I explained to you, and I explained to you because I didn't know, like how I rightfully said, I don't know any of these people in the space. I came in a space because I saw a void and I saw a perpetual prosecution on something that is irrelevant to Liberia becoming relevant again, which is the perpetual pounding on politics, because I know that politics will take the country nowhere. So I decided to enter into the space, not in the medical side like I did in the beginning, but decided to execute the way I'm starting to do. And so I don't know Miss Mesca, and I think she mentioned another lady's name. I don't know anybody. I know you. Well, I don't know you personally, but I've always heard about you. And I told you the first time I talked to you, I expressed my regard for you because you've always been around in the Liberian media space. Even when I was a little boy, I've always known the name Ashford Garley. So, and that's why I told you, look, it's an honor that I'm even talking to you right now. So I don't know Miss Mesca, and I do recall the show that she's talking about. And I think I mentioned it to you when we started talking. The first thing I told you was, hey, if you have an opportunity to connect me with this Miss Mesca person, do it if you can. I think you told me you would do whatever you could so that I can apologize to her because I do recall the event that actually happened on my show, and perhaps you guys, the politicians. I would assume that Ms. Mesca probably has her political, preferences, and whoever else called on my show has his as well. So I think they've been sparring and they have their differences, and I don't know what happened, right? And this guy called and he expressed himself, and so. I could have done better with how I handled it. And I think I told you, even you told me, I said, look, Mr. Garley, I'm just coming to this stuff. I didn't know how to act. And you said, look, man, this is your platform, and you can execute on it the way you have to make sure you're controlling the environment. And I said, yeah. And what do I say? I say, I need to talk to Ms. Meskar to apologize for the fact that I could have done better. And even she mentioned Glendy.
Watching you right now, and she
and I will. I'm just trying to explain what actually happened. And then I think along with her watching that day was probably her friend. I think she has a friend called Glendy. Well, Glendy I tend to know as well because my Glendy is somehow attached or affiliated with my wife's family. And so I have an enormous regard for Glendy. So when I noticed that Glendy was also complaining on that show, if Glendy would be honest, I apologize. I said, hey, I don't know what's going on, but don't get mad at me. We'll talk about it. And Glendy and I chatted on Messenger after that. And I told Glendy just what I told you. I said, reach out to Hawa and tell her that I would like to personally, talk to her. So if you can make it work. She didn't, she said she was going to work on it or something like that, but it didn't happen. So anyway, look, publicly here's the fact, right? I don't want what happened that day, and people are going to take things how they want to take it, and I'm not here to try to tell people not to be who they are. But look, what I did, what my approach to what happened that day was obviously wrong. It was unprofessional. It was wrong, which is why I reached out to two different persons, Mr. Garley and Glendy, and tried to resolve it. And I think, and it didn't happen, but I'm so excited that right now it's happening. So here's a public opportunity to apologize to Ms. Meskar, to Dr. Peters, and every other female out there who saw my inaction, not my action perhaps, but my inaction that day as very disrespectful and whatever else they see it to be. I own up to it and I take responsibility for it. I want to do that as fast as I can so we don't take it away from what exactly my platform is about. And Ms. Meskar also mentioned that I've been talking about how a lot of people in America are doing nothing for themselves. I don't know people personally, and why would I say such a thing? Now, with that, I will continually disagree with anyone who comes up with that argument. Because if you want to be fair and honest, every time I speak in this regard, I always say, look, the large percentage, and sometimes I even say 80% of us diaspora Liberians, especially in these United States of America, are found wanting of being a disappointment to the country, and that is a fact. Now, I don't expect you to agree to that or to feel comfortable with it. It doesn't matter how you feel about it, but that is a fact. It's factual. Now, you can go about it however you want to go about it or however you want to feel about it. That's a fact. We are a disappointment. And then we are, to a large extent, responsible for a lot of the issues, just like my brother, Mr. Moses Ballah just said, which I will come to as well, right? We are responsible for most of the disarray and chaos. For example, you just seen people residing in the diaspora claiming responsibility for what just happened in Liberia, for what most will agree is a terrorist act. So now, tell me, how can I be wrong for saying that a lot of us in the diaspora are responsible for the country being such a disarray? I don't expect you to be comfortable with my points. I'm not Jesus Christ. I don't come to make you comfortable. I have come to talk about the very uncomfortable things that need to be addressed to bring this very Liberia, who all of us claim to love, to a place of relevance on this God's green earth, because the country is an utter disgrace to the rest of the world. We are a laughing stock. We are an object of scorn and mockery. Now that's going to continually be my message. Now you see me, I'm getting passionate already. That's my message. However you take it, more power to you. I hope you can get in the corner and pray to God to help you to understand what I'm saying. But that's a fact. And someone has to. I'm not going to come out here and talk about politics all day. I'm very capable of doing that, as you can see. I can create a platform and want to take a side and say I'm going to do this, and I will get all the views I want. But that's very irrelevant to Liberia becoming anything of substance on this God's green earth. And that you will continually hear from this lower facial opening on my face. I will always say that because it's a fact. You can blame this government or you can blame the next government, whether it's going to be Cummings or Ewing or Mr. Ashford Garley or maybe Steve Bullock, whoever is going to be the next president. The same attitude you are putting towards this government, you will put towards the next governments in the past. So what I'm saying is this particular perverted mental approach that we have had. I'm not saying Liberians are crazy. Please understand this. My father is a Liberian. My mother is a Liberian. My grandparents are Liberian. I take no pleasure in speaking ill towards them. So don't try to pervert what I'm saying. But our approach to everything we've done so far are mentally perverted. That's why we went to a 40-year civil war to which no single solitary Liberian can put a finger on the benefit.
So, Mr. Kemah, somebody who is very curious might think about where did you get your statistics?
Very good question, and that's a fair question. Look, listen. Obviously, I haven't done any kind of statistical analysis or whatever, but because the Liberian population is pretty significant in America, but there is something called a sample size, and I'm sure Mr. Steve Ballah, Moses rather, who I'm going to come to next, will admit that when you're trying to take statistics of anything in life, you deal with sample size. It's damn near impossible to go and take a tally of every single Liberian residing in these United States of America. But I can wager to you this: for every 10 Liberians I know in these United States of America, a good 8 of them are not what America would have expected us to be when we came here. We are on the opposite side of things, and to a large extent, it is because of how we grew up. You know, we are very loving people, are very friendly people, very forgiving people, but those characteristics have something called a side effect. Just like when you take medicine, there are side effects. Those characteristics, and I think the side effects of those characteristics are overwhelming us. And that, number one, is we are lackadaisical. We are very complacent. We come to the place of the greatest opportunities on earth, and yet we do nothing. And the vast majority of us turn to by force politicians on social media. You don't like when I say that, but it's a fact. I can wager to you, not a lot of you came to these United States of America, going to the U.S. Embassy, applying for documents, trying, asking your families here to help you to come because you wanted to come here and turn into politicians. That's not the reason why a lot of us came. But we came and reality hit us, life hit us. All of a sudden, we are politicians. And when the CDC government is gone, and whether it's the CPP or whoever else is there, I will say this very same thing. Don't go after government, because the Lebanese people, the Indian people, these people are in Liberia doing amazing, and not going after government. These are foreigners. So why are we, who have the natural birthright to the country, perpetually operating in this arena of vanity, just this vanity kind of thinking? It's a fact. You have to see it. You have to be honest. Okay, so let me move on to Mr. Samuel McCarthy. Okay, so he said.
That's McCarthy, but just before
Saul, yeah, Mr. Saul, S-A-U-L, yeah.
Just before you move on to SAR, right? A sample size with primary research can present bias.
Let's say that again, brother.
Having a sample size with primary research can present bias.
Having a sample size with primary research,
can present bias. Is that your bias?
There is always going to be bias in any kind of statistical analysis, regardless of whatever formula exists that you're going to use. There is always going to be a bias. There's always going to be a natural bias. And my bias is this, and you can tell me if you don't like my bias or not. My bias is this: I am going to be as conservative as I can be to the advantage of Liberia. So even if I twist the number,
somebody's interrupting our conversation here. If your last 4 digits 9104, please make your phone, because I just don't want to cut you. I know you want to be a part of the show tonight. Please make your phone, and our guest is speaking. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
I'm always going to be biased now. Now, and also if people can recall, every time I'm on my show, I said I am beholden to 2 nations on earth. I also, because I am an amalgamation of 2 experiences: the Liberian experience and the American experience. But Liberia is where the help seems to be needed. Now, I will always be biased when I talk about Liberia. Why? Because it's in advantage of the country. So I'm not going to be liberal about it. I will be conservative about it. So I will pinch the numbers as best as I can to make that case. Now it's up to you to agree on my number or not, or go do your own real research and come back and dispel me. My platform is open, and you guys know every time I'm on my platform, I always say, if you want to come on the screen, I will bring you on the screen, because it's not about you disgracing me on my platform or telling me how dumb I am. I can care less about that. if a dialogue is going to bring any kind of substantive change to Liberia, disgrace me all you want, and at the end of the day, let Liberia benefit. Who cares? So we are looking at this thing in a very perverse way. You can come at me as angry as you want to be. I am going to perpetually say what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is the fact. Everything you guys are continually trying to do has been tried for 50, 40, 60 years. You see the results. You see the same kind of mindset that led to what happened in 1989, and the same kind of mindset that led to tires being burned in the street a few days ago. The parallels are very frightening. What else do you want me to say? It's a fact. All right, brother. Yeah. Brother Sir McCarthy. Okay, so his first point was he thinks I'm being overly simplistic when I make my deliveries. But sir, I do look. I am nothing but flesh and blood. I'm nothing but flesh and blood. I will never claim in any way, shape, or form to be perfect. And so I do take your criticism with the utmost respect, and I appreciate it to the wildest extent. I just want to make sure though that we don't pervert what I'm saying. Okay. I think a lot of people are trying to make it seem like I'm saying Liberians are crazy, Liberians are this, when in fact I'm a Liberian, so that means I'm actually one of them. I'm talking about the mindset that has brought us to where we are. That's a fact. That's something that I'm perpetually trying to execute on. I'm not saying that we are a bunch of crazy people. I just said at the beginning of this particular talk tonight that on the continent of Africa, the country that I have the most respect for, the country that I have the most confidence in, despite the fact that we are at the bottom of the food chain right now, is Liberia. We are the one set of people on our continent with the greatest amounts of talents, the greatest amounts of capabilities to do anything we want to do. But we just need to get away from the current mindset and the mindset of the past and try to change our way of thinking. How about, for example, since we've always thought that the government need to do this, this senator, that, how about we ignore this for a while and look to what the foreigners are doing in the country, for example, and they are exceeding immensely. Some of these guys come to Liberia with $20,000-$30,000 in their pocket, and a couple of years later, they are millionaires. Why is this possible? And the government didn't make those people rich. So why don't we try to find a way to face our own problems? The fact that we are weak to a large extent, and this is not because of who we are. This is how we are very conditioned.
And Ballah, speaking of foreigners, somebody just asked that question. Have you studied why foreigners do better in Liberia more than Liberians?
Okay, absolutely not. I have not studied why foreigners do better in Liberia. Look, one thing I will, if I know the person's name, I'll say, because I want to say the name respectfully.
His name is Michael Bull.
Mr. Michael Bull.
Yeah.
Mr. Michael Bull, I can tell you this, right? I will not, we always like to, I say on my platform every now and then, this is not meet the challenge. This is not St. Patrick going against Tubman and all of that. My goal is to try to make the country better. I can care less how much you want to say, oh, have you studied this or studied that? Who cares about studying what? The fact that it's happening, that's what we should be focused on. How is it happening? Why is it happening? And why are we really doing it? And that's another thing about Liberians. We are too much intellectuals. Intellectuals with no substance. Now you want me to go study why foreigners do better. No, you go study it and do something better for yourself. And that's where I am. So and this is just real, but you guys just want to make everything for a joke. Politics, this, meet the challenge. Have you studied? Who cares about that? I'm not here to study why foreigners do better. If you want to know, if you want to make your life better in Liberia, it's your responsibility to find out why the Indian man doing better. The Fulani man came from Guinea or started selling cold water, cool this, that. 1 year later, he got a shop. We go find out why it's happening. Don't ask me to go study it. It's not a challenge.
Let me take a few more calls, and then we'll
I didn't answer all the questions, but
I'll go ahead and answer the question. But I mean, that no need to get heated though. You came across Mr. Bull very angry. I don't know what's up. But anyway, go ahead, answer the rest of the questions, and then we'll go back to the line. Go ahead.
You say I came across the who?
Mr. Bull, the gentleman who asked the question, who asked whether you studied.
And I came across very angry. No. Well, passionately, I think I would say no, because the fact of the matter is, I don't think there's a need to be trivial. like this. You know, because we all know what the realities are. So, like I respectfully said to Mr. Bull, and if you think I'm being angry, then, you know, I mean, unfortunately, that's your comprehension. I mean, that's your interpretation of how I'm going.
Go ahead, answer the rest.
Yeah, I'm just saying. And so for now, Mr. McCarthy also asked, are people protesting in America mentally ill? You know, and for Mr. McCarthy to ask that question, then he will be trying to insinuate that I'm saying that the people protesting in Liberia are mentally ill, which comes back to what I said earlier. Well, I'm never advocating that we are mentally ill. I'm saying our mental state of being is perverse, and it has to be revisited. We have to switch it up. That's what I'm saying. So no, the people protesting in America are not mentally ill. Neither are the people protesting in Liberia mentally ill. I'm just saying the mental state of being of the country, the way the way we have prioritized the things that we say important. For example, you got medical doctors in Liberia who should be paid at the highest food chain, and these people can barely make their ends meet. You don't take them important. You take people who, you know, like you, Mr. Garley, you talk about some people who in the beginning, all of a sudden the politician and the rich. We prioritize those people. When you got medical doctors, nurses, people who are sacrificing their lives, police officers, these people should be well paid. We don't take care of them. We prioritize the very ill things in society. And all this stuff is not because of the present government. It's just because of how the country has been conditioned from the very beginning. I mean, for a long time now, and which is not right. So we just need to try to visit that particular mental state of being. We need to prioritize the right things and put things into perspective. If we're really serious about Liberia moving from from amongst the poorest country on earth, you know, I mean,
the man angry. The man ain't angry, man. The man is just passionate. Go ahead. Yeah, so we can have these other people call you. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, so
there's the man. Then, angry, the man. Angry, the man. They're passionate.
I love Liberian people. So the next call was okay. Let me address Mr. Moses. All right, Mr. Moses. I think he's the one that said I seem to be biased towards this government. Look, listen to me. I'm very honored that you're trying to associate with me with the government. I mean, a little boy to me. What do I? You know, I don't even know people in government. I got no affiliation. So I'm very honored that you're trying to make me look like a big person. I'm biased to this government, this and that. I'm not biased to any government, Mr. Moses, because whatever I'm saying right now, when the next group comes in there, I will say the same about them, that they should not be blamed or they should not be held responsible for Liberia's real problem, which is this long-term mental issue that we have faced. You are going to go after these people when they come. You will start blaming them just like you blame this government. You blame politicians. You want politicians to fix the thing. We need to fix our own problem. These people are representatives of us. If we despise them, that means we're despising ourselves because we elected them. It is based on our mental conditioning. It is based on the kinds of priorities that we said that we elect these people. So when we despise them, we're despising ourselves. So why do you want to continually despise yourself in life? So why not visit the premise from which you think to elect these people? I know you don't like that again, but this is so if we are the problem. It's not the government. It's not our government. It's not Ellen's government. It's not Doe's government. It will not be Cummings' government or whoever comes next. It will be us because we are the problem. Our thinking. You elected the people. You see what I'm saying? So the parallels are very frightening. And so no. I mean, I'm not biased to government. I got no interest in government. I don't know anybody in government, so I'm absolutely not biased.
You don't answer all of the questions.
Oh yes. For the most part. Not really all of them, but yeah. But I mean, I'm sure we.
Okay, folks, if you're just joining us, this is Ashford Garley Live, and usually on Thursdays, where this is our laid-back day, where we talk about social issues, and we'll also, splash you a little bit of comedy, and then tomorrow, Club Quarantine, where you come in and dance and do what you have to do. But we have to go back to the telephone line because we have people in line that really want to get a piece of you. Not piece of you in the sense of angry, but they just want to engage you. So we want to take the line.
That's fine.
5983. Tell us your name.
How you doing, Lodi? My name is Burr J. Danoa. I'm calling from Cedar Rabbit.
Welcome to the show.
I have two questions for Mr. Ballah.
Can you please make it one? We're almost at the time.
Okay. I will add it down to what? Mr. Ballah, this identical government, the CDC-led government, in 12 years, in 12 unbroken years, this government, the ministers in this government, the representatives in this government, the senate makers in this government, so captive for 12 unbroken years. And you're talking about mental health. Will you tell the Liberian people then, in that 12 years, they have a mental state ability that you're talking about burning tires on the road? These people destroy, they burn tires, they did everything. They took women painting and put it on casket. So as a doctoral degree holder, men are taking from a company that did medicine. Are you telling us, we the Liberian in the diaspora, 80% of us have mental issues too, and the government are leaving us personally? That's my question.
Thank you.
Because it looks like
Thank you. The man wanted 2 questions. He just had 1 question. He just had 3 questions he asked. We have 9104. Tell us your name.
How are you, Mr.
I don't know
Garley?
if Mr. Johnson, but you might want to please mute your phone. There's noise in the background, please. 9104. Tell us your name.
My name is Trocon Smith.
Mr.
I'm
Smith,
calling
hello.
from.
Welcome to the show.
I'm calling from Maryland.
Okay, you're live on the radio.
My question has to do with, based on where I met the guest speaking from, it has to do with his explanation to politics and whatever goes on in Liberia. I want to know as to whether the guests fully understand the definition of politics, and knowing that it has to do with the activity associated with governance or governing of people in a nation. Having said that, if he, since he had decided to attribute whatever happened in the country to that of the people in the diaspora, does he understand, or what is his view as it relates to the government side of things in the country, since he wants Liberian, both in the diaspora and in the nation, to take the nation to a better standard? What is disappointment into the government as it relates to current affairs in Liberia?
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay, we now go to Arizona. Mr. George Lobo is live. George?
Thank you very much, Mr. Garley. Am I audible enough?
Loud and clear.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. I want to say thanks. Good afternoon or good evening to your studio guests. I want to go straight to the point. I've been following the show. You know, I don't usually call the show. But 2 things struck me. Mr. Bole asked the studio guest to tell us, what does he have his doctorate degree in? And that is very, very important. And I want all Liberians to begin to understand that because somebody holds a doctorate degree in English does not mean he understands what needs to be done at the Ministry of Finance. That it don't work like that. And that is the problem we are having now with the next big challenge as a country. If the doctor in the studio said that 80% of the Liberians in the diaspora, especially those that live here in America, that we are a disappointment, I want the doctors to tell us if he understands that Liberians here in the United States alone contribute over $350 million in remittances to the country. I hope if he has that understanding, I want him to tell us the data that he used to come up with that number, because if 80% are this $300+ million to the Liberian economy every year. I want the doctor to explain that to us.
Thank you. Thank you, George.
Good question. Good question.
The last 4 digits of your number are 7817. Tell us your name.
My name is Joa Bimba. I'm calling from New Jersey, and I really don't have a question, just a short comment regarding the discussion. And I give me a little bit of middle. I don't know what's the topic. I see you talking about a little bit of mental health relating to what is going on in Liberia, but basically my own point here is the issues in Liberia. Hello.
Yeah, you're live. Keep talking. We're listening to you.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah.
Murphy,
So
please mute the phone.
The issues in Liberia are compound complex. And number one, I don't support any one group of Liberians blaming one group of Liberians. For example, some people complain about those in the diaspora being responsible for what happened in Liberia. The only thing I always tell people, I say, those in the diaspora, we came here with problems. We already had the problem back in Liberia, and we're moving in diaspora. So the problems in Liberia are existing problems. And the young people coming out, maybe in getting involved in violence. That is not a new phenomenon. Anyone who has followed Liberian politics is not a new phenomenon. It's not even a new phenomenon in developing country politics. It's always the case that the opposition political parties will always use strike and protest. And the young people will always be available. And there are a few things I observed. One, unemployment remained a major problem for Liberia. Whether it was early time, whether it was dole time, unemployment remained a major factor. The young people are not engaged. The educational system is not really engaging them. And so the young people become vulnerable to repeated violence over and over. Now, somebody will argue, yes, I agree, the government cannot be here responsible. Citizens, we are all part of the government. But to a greater extent, we have not really had an opportunity of having the leadership that is really providing what Liberians need.
Thank you.
Leadership is the major problem facing Liberia. That would be my own short, Thank you.
And thank you, folks. And folks who are there commenting, please be nice, man. I mean, come on. And the kind of things you people are writing say, you slow down small, be nice, And we have Mr. Sandro Johnson on the line from Philly. Sandro, hello, in-law.
Mr. Garley, good evening, and good evening to Dr. Kemah. I would not call him Dr. Ballah because I watched him growing up. I have known him since he was probably 6 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I have known him for many years. Unfortunately, I don't follow a lot of the activities on Facebook, but today I found out that he was on your show, and I thought to just come in, and I don't really have a question. I have only one proposition for him. I see that he has a lot of energy, and I would really be happy if that energy can be used to do a lot in Liberia. And I think that would be nice. Because I think we need a lot of help in our country, and we all have to do it collectively. It cannot be done on an individual level. So I thought to just come in. I haven't spoken to him. I think the last time I spoke to him, he was graduating from school. So I thought to just come in today to use this opportunity to reach out and, just give him encouragement, make sure that, the energy that he has is being directed on the right path. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
And thank you, Dad. I'll see you soon. We already have a problem in Philly there with the passing of our grand aunt.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I've been there. I've been going there. I was there last night till late. I didn't go there tonight, but hopefully I'll be there tomorrow as well.
Okay, I can bring along. All right. Murphy, hello.
Hey, good evening, Ashford. How you doing?
What's up, my brother? Welcome to the show.
Thank
Dr.
you. Thank you.
Kemah is listening to you.
Okay, so let me first thank you for coming to the show. Quick question. I just want him to break down the definition that he gave when somebody said it meant we have some mental state. He said, I don't know what he said, but something of some perverse. I just want him to break that thing down as those people who fall in that category, what's wrong with them? That's number one. Two, for him to insinuate that the people of the country have the problem and not the government. not as in CDC or whichever government. I got a serious problem with that because one, the people he talking about that more than 75% would say illiterate. Who's supposed to make the people illiterate? When the people give you power, you're supposed to in turn go and educate the people, make sure they got sound education, and make the country conducive for business people, for everybody to do anything. And that's what make America great. Because whether you know book or you know book, you can live the best of life. That's diversity of whatever you want to do. But you can blame the citizens that you got to give them rights to vote for you. Like the president said everywhere else, it's not a, oh, give me your CV. We don't know you. You be president before. You say, I will do this. Now, what about labor? You bring t-shirt, you get a vote for you there. So how can we blame the people for making you leader, then you in turn suffer the very people who will make you leader? Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll take the last caller and then go back to Dr. Kemah. Your last 4 digits, 6267. Tell us your name.
Hey, my name is Darling Wahu. I'm calling from Worcester, Massachusetts.
Hey, the troublemaker. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, today I will not make trouble because I know the guest is studio. I just want to provide him pieces of advice. Dr. Ballah, you are a very young and smart fellow. You are one of the few that came here and made a name for yourself, who are very ambitious to have gone to school. Everything you are reading today on this platform, all the negative comments, I want you to take them into serious consideration. These people are talking are not crazy people. They are saying something that you are not saying. That the old people say the thing that old people can sit and see you, the young boy, when you claim in the tree, say you not see it. So just you are very new on the social media. You have a lot to learn, and just cool up a little bit, brother. Cool up a little bit. I know how you feel. I know what you feel. I know what's going on. A lot is going on in your head, but just take it easy. And you know, we Liberians, we are brothers. A lot of people came here. They probably didn't see the need to go to school because we got a lot of broken around here, and you know, all the needs and all of that. So don't just talk, you know, down on that. They are brother. They are making life somehow. You know, they're doing good. So all the negative comments, I see that 95% of the comments on it are very negative. So just learn from them. When you go home, I want you to watch a show over by yourself. Like a soccer player who's going to play a match, and you got to watch other games to learn mistakes and other stuff. So you can learn from this. And you are very young. You got a bright future. You got a lot to offer Liberia, and I can see you go a very long way. And I think Steve Boley said that the data is saying that a lot of the Liberians are here and they're pretty clear that are not educated. They don't have a college degree, and so as was it. But Steve is saying that then how are they able to send $300,000 up to $500,000 over $500,000 in remittances home to Liberia? The money there is not an issue because a lot of the older than they got 2-3 clients in their houses. So if you're getting $4,000 or $5,000 on each client, that's a lot of money to be able to send some money home. So I just want to say thank you. I'm not going to be tough tonight. The brother said, brother, I'm not going to be tough tonight. I'm waiting for a guest that he told me about. So I'm keeping all my grenade for that guest he told me about. I'm not going to call him.
Hey God, you know, next week this platform will be hot. A lot of folks coming on next week, and it would be so fascinating. Well, Dot, you heard from the people. It's now time for you to respond to the many questions asked.
Yeah. All right. I think you got a call coming. Okay, so first of all,
let me see. I think we'll have this. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, yeah, go ahead. Dot is listening.
Okay. I don't think he actually, and this is Dr. Peters, by the way.
Okay,
and I don't think he answered my question when I asked him what was he kind of consolidated my question. He said with the other lady, which was in. Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Which was it? I don't think it should have been consolidated because my question was, what is the methodology you as a young, vibrant Liberian?
Mm-hmm.
What is the methodologies are you guys using to work with leadership in Liberia to heal Liberia? That was my question. You know, that's why I said we all can express anger. We all can express that kind of energy. But if we don't take that energy and put it to use, we're just going in the same circle around and around. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc.
Perfect.
Okay. Back to you, Dr. Kemah.
All right, Doc. First of all, I'll just start with Dr. Peters. Yeah, my apologies for lumping your question with that of Ms. Mesgart's. That's a very, very good question. You are 100% right. Just talking about it is not enough. But I think the start had to be talking about it, and then we can start talking about how to actually get it done. And you are a professional, and I gave you the utmost respect because I know you do have a whole host of ideas as to how to interact in this regard, whether you are a medical doctor or a doctor of your psychology or whatever your profession is. Regardless of that, I'm sure you do have a whole host of experience and ideas as to how to go about this. And so the fact that this particular problem is being talked about, or the fact that there is hopefully a possibility that we will start to see this as the problem rather than everything else that wouldn't matter, even though those other things are problems, but those aren't the things that will matter when it comes to bringing Liberia to a place of relevance. The fact that we can hopefully eventually recognize that this is the solitary problem, that's a good thing. And so, Doc, that's a perfect question. And I'm very optimistic in Liberians, like I said, that when this kind of information starts to become accepted, when this reality starts to become accepted as the actual reality, there will be a whole host of ideas. A lot of smart people, like the George Lobos of the world, this guy I called earlier, and all these people will start to put together ideas as to how to bring this into bear and bring this into reality. So I want to thank you in a very special way, Doc. That's a very good question. And I am sure and very optimistic of the fact that this is going to be adjudicated upon, and we're going to have ideas. Now, personally, I don't want to, it's not going to sound your own horn. I know a lot of people are doing things, but like I said, I'm currently working with a youth organization who, by the way, tomorrow morning, Liberia time, are going to be out there in the street. We help to provide resources and stuff like that. They're going to be out there trying to bring awareness to substance abuse. So they will be catering to the Zogos. I think they are going in several different counties. I brought them on my platform, did a fundraiser, and we personally contributed as well to try to make this possible. So it's going to happen now. These are ways that we can try to, from a distance, start to bring action into try to combine action with what we're trying to do. So if you're fortunate enough to maybe watch Facebook, OKFM is going to talk about it tomorrow, and etc. So that's one way. So, but like I said, I'm very optimistic that there will be a whole host of ideas as to how Metzger and all these people, I'm sure they're going to use their platforms to bring more awareness to this issue, which I'm sure they are doing as well. And this is going to take another trend, because I am with every fiber of my being, this is Liberia's main problem. So I want to thank you very much, Doc.
So do you strongly believe you answer her question?
What is that?
Do you strongly believe you answer her question?
Yeah, I mean, as best as I can. Her question is, what methodology are we using to try to help the mental problems of Liberia? And so I said, I first of all admonished the fact that was a very good question. And personally, I didn't want to talk about what I'm doing personally, because it doesn't matter what I do personally. Even though I just talked a little bit about the fact that we're going to be working with the Zogos and people that we call Zogos in society, people suffering from substance abuse, we're going to be dealing with that tomorrow. But this particular pressing mental problem that we have, that has caused Liberia to be where she is, has to be a collective effort. But we first have to bring awareness to the fact that we need to start focusing on it a lot more. Meaning, we need to take our mindset from where it is, the things that we are fixed on, and divert it. Just all we need to do is just look at other countries around the world and other advanced countries and see what they are prioritizing. And let's start prioritizing those same things. At this time, there's no reason to be ashamed to say we don't want to photocopy people, because they are doing something right and we are doing something wrong. So the first step is we should start looking at these countries and see what they are doing and what we can do. And then individually, we are going to continually, do what we can, but we don't want to continue talking about it, coming to say, oh, I'm doing this and doing that. But tomorrow morning, a part of my personally, my action will be seen tomorrow morning in Monrovia as we're trying to help Zogos and stuff like that as best as we can. Yeah. So and listen to me, I don't think it's 100% answer to a question, but I'm not perfect, so I try as best as I can. My brother.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
To my brother from Worcester, I appreciate your advice. It's unfortunate, and regardless of how long this takes, I know people are always going to take. People criticize Mr. Garley, even though I personally love his show, and I think he has a very outstanding platform. People still criticize it and stuff like that. And so people, Jesus came on this earth. Jesus came on this earth, did what he had to do. We still criticizing. People criticize SKTV, for example. I think SKTV is a very awesome platform. People criticize it. So people are always going to criticize, and that's fine. But as long as we criticize in love and criticize in a desire to bring the country to a better place, I'm fine with it. Call me whatever you want to call me, and whatever. So and that's fine. So but I appreciate your advice, brother. I do take that very wholeheartedly. Brother Murphy, I did not get his first question because I didn't want to interrupt, but during his first question there was some interruption. But I got the second question, and I think it goes to saying who's supposed to make the people literate, and do we blame the people? So I think he tried to talk to the fact that the problems that's facing a lot of the people in Liberia. To a large extent, government should be held responsible, and perhaps, there is never a time on my platform, that I'm saying that we should give government a pass. I'm trying to advocate that if we have problems with our governments, we should look at the real source of that problem, which is the premise upon which we elected these governments. Perhaps our priorities, the things that in other words, the things that we think are important, maybe those things are not important because it's based on the things that we think are important, we are going to elect leaders. And so maybe those things are not important after all. For example, we should not be electing people because we love them. We should not be electing people because they have probably been famous in the past. Only because of that. We should not be electing people simply because they are able to get off on social media and perhaps mesmerize you and make you feel emotional. These aren't reasons why we should be electing people. We should be electing, especially for a vulnerable country like Liberia, we should be electing leaders now based on people who have proven track records to produce whatever you think is a priority for you. You know what I mean? And the only way we're going to start thinking like this, though, is to cool down a little bit on too much or the politics, this politician responsible for this and that, because we are fooling the people and the people are consuming our information on a daily basis. People wake up in Liberia wanting to go on Facebook and see which other American Liberian American social media host is saying what, and they consume that stuff. And this is, and this is not the kind of information that's going to dissuade them from thinking the same ways that they thought in order to go burn tires a few days ago on the street. I'm not saying we should blame these people for we should ostracize them for burning the tires, but I'm saying that we need to address that kind of mental conditioning that will make people so prone to be willing to jump on the street and burn tires and do stuff like that or burn buildings. I'm not saying we should blame these people, Murphy, but I'm saying that we need to focus more on addressing the root cause problem, the problems for the reason for which people will think like this, to act in this way. We need to actually address it, and it really has nothing to do with the politics, to be honest, because at the end of the day, we elect these politicians. You don't like me today, tomorrow you may not like Cummings. What are you going to do? Jump on the street again and burn tires? So that's just my approach to that. To my big brother, Mr. Sanders Johnson, of course, he's 100% right. I need to redirect my energy into doing something in Liberia, and which, obviously, like Jesus said, one hand doing something you have to, but he is 100% right, and he watched me growing up, so he's 100% right, but I'm sure he would agree that maybe we should start talking about it. If we can get more people to start focusing on talking about it a lot more, it'll be a lot better. Now, let's see here. George Lobo. Okay. Lobo. All right. Lobo is wanting to know what I have my degree in, my doctorate in. He was trying to piggyback off of I think Moses question. He said Moses asked what I have a degree in. I guess they are trying to insinuate that I don't have any authority to talk about mental issues. I have to have a degree in I'm sorry.
Hey, my brother, why are you trying to go into the head? Just
Yeah.
the main question. You don't have to insinuate as to what they say or what they're thinking about you in their heads.
No. What I was saying is I am trying to understand that I think Bully said earlier that what gave me the authority indirectly to talk about mental issues when I have my degree in something totally different from mental, and I think we're all humans. We all have common sense, right? And a lot of the misunderstanding out there is people continually try to implicate me as saying Liberians are crazy people. And I'm not going to stop them from doing it. What I continually say is the mental basis upon which we have prioritized in the country, we have elected leaders, that has to be diverted. We have to revisit that. Because if we don't like this government today, we didn't like the government of the past, but if we maintain that same mental state of being, we will elect governments that we will end up despising again. So why don't we visit that? I think that's what needs to change. It's not the government. It's not the politicians and all that. What needs to change is our way of prioritizing, our way of thinking as a people. That's what I think. All right, and Mr. Bird. Okay, Truckin. Actually, Truckin was the phrase he said. I do understand. Okay, so he wants to know if I understand the definition of politics, and what kind of difference or disappointment do I have in the current government? Unfortunately, Mr. Truckin, and this would be very controversial to say. I don't listen. Just like I will not. I'm not a politician. I'm not in the political space. I'm sure you can talk to the guys who talk about politics a lot more on Facebook to let you know. But personally, I'm not paying much attention to what's happening in the actual direct political space, right? Because I know that governments of the past, including this government and government to come, will be corrupt, unfortunately. There will be embezzling of money. There will be all that stuff going on. I know that stuff is going to happen. But so there's always going to be disappointment there, always. But the fact, my point here is, if we have problems with these people that we have elected all this time, and if they've always looked down on the people of Liberia, not cared for you, just care about their personal pockets and stuff like that. What makes you think if we go with that same mindset by which we elected these people and elect somebody else, it's going to change? So that means there will always continue to be disappointment. So why don't we try to focus on changing the premise by which we actually elect people? Because if we continue to go after things the same way and expect a change, it's like that stupid fly trying to get out of the room, trying to pound on the window, trying to go through the window when they take another path. So all I'm advocating is let's just try to go another way about it. Let's just change our thinking, the way we have prioritized, the basis upon which we have decided to elect leaders. Maybe that premise has been wrong, and that's why we keep electing people that we don't like. All right, so to answer your question, I have no direct disappointment in this government, just like I have no direct disappointment in the governments of the past, and I will have no direct disappointment in the governments of the future. My disappointment is in us, the Liberian people, those who have elected these governments. That's where my disappointment lies, and I think we can do better as a people. That's what I think. And all right, so we got I think that was it from the last several questions that actually came in.
That's it. Okay, now we are going to hold you there because the people calling us back to start the football game. But just before we do that, we want to go back to the phone line again.
Hello,
Dr. Brooks. Oh, I call him the other Brooks.
You calling somebody? I think someone else on the line too.
Yeah, I plenty of Brooks. We got plenty of Brooks. Yeah, so just hold on. This lady has been very persistent, and she said you didn't answer the question. The way she wanted you to answer the question. So
okay,
let's see if she can come back on. And Explain this. In the meantime, folks, I'm telling you, you got your star, I got my star. Oh, wow. And we're about to play that song right now. We're about to go back on the field and play. And no score to either side. No score to George Weah team. And no score to the other side. The people who just want George Weah to get out so that they can come and take away the country. And listen, I'm all my time now, and I stay all time because you are going to pay for this all time. Dr. Kemah, I'm telling you, you know. I'm serious, you know. My bedtime not passed. You know, it's time to start my cigar. Said, let my cigar not time. Dr. Peters, you live.
Hey, actually, looking for a structure plan. I was looking for him to say, I've put together this plan in phase 1. This is what I'm going to do. And I've talked to leadership in Liberia for follow-up. You know, it's easy to go to Liberia, take doctors to Liberia. We educate. We have clinic days. We do all we can. And we live in, I'm an epidemiologist. And if you don't follow up on those things, all your work that you have done would be in vain. So I'm looking for a structured plan. I'm looking for what are you doing in phases to keep what you are doing, to follow these Zocos that you're trying to help. So if I took a Zoco out of the ghetto and I said, I want to rehab this person and I want to take him off opioids and I want to develop him into something that he's going to be tomorrow, I'm going to structure that plan and use that methodology for detoxing him, bringing him back into society, transition him into where I think I want to be. Not just throwing things out there. I was looking for a structure. Okay. Unfortunately, I know it's how you felt, you could answer the question. And I respect that. There was no right or wrong answer to that. I respect that. And I gave that to you. But like you say our problem in Liberia is mental health. And sometimes when we start with mental health or we start putting stigma on the problems in Liberia, it's not going to be solved. I think we need to start with where the root cause was or is. And once we start there and say this is the root cause of our problem, now let's see how we can dig deeper into that root cause and then try to solve it. So from an epidemiologist standpoint, we want to do root cause and analysis. So let's do the root cause first before we jump to the analysis part of it. That's all I was asking. But thank you.
Thanks a lot, Doctor. Doctor, I want to say quickly what I have you on the line. Let me say to you personally, thanks a lot. But I think you might not have caught it or when I said it, but I think we're both talking on the same spectrum. Let's find a root cause, right? The root cause why we hit this government, the root cause why we hit the last government, why we're going to hit the next government, the root cause why we keep burning tires on the street and going to war and killing each other. And then, which I've said it. I said it is because of our mental conditioning. So I think whichever way we put it, at the end of the day, is how we think. That's how we're going to act. So I think I strongly believe that that's the root cause of our problem. The root cause is our mental conditioning as a nation.
Jihad talk show team. Some people be practicing the microphone and we take the microphone and load that paper. They don't think get stations. I'm telling you, Sano Johnson is on the line again. Sano, welcome to the show.
All right, look, I have just one recommendation for the studio guest. He did mention about me coming on board, and I thought we just quickly throw in. And he met the mental health that the studio guest talked about today. I've worked in the field for the last 15 years as a consultant, and so I understand the entire mental health issue.
Everybody got an
I have done that for the past 15 years as a consultant. So I have the trainings, I have the education, I have the experience as well. And so, Ballah, you know my number, and if you need to reach me, please feel free if you need my help. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. And Ashford, I forgot to answer one of George Lobel's question. His second question, where he said, "Do I know how much Liberians are in the diaspora are contributing to Liberia?" I think, Lobel, I don't know. I'm sorry. If you have that stats, and if it's important to you, that's great. I don't think it's so important to me because when I talk about, what I talk about diaspora Liberians in America, it has nothing to do with the financial contribution we make to the country. But yeah, Lobo, no, absolutely, I don't know. And I'm sure you have indulged yourself with that information, and more power to you, my brother.
Okay, but man, your parting comments. No, I don't want you to get a parting because we're going to go back to the field play,
Oh, I stay there?
Eh?
I stay up, brother. My brother, you want proof that I can lose energy,
Okay. Listen, they're calling all back on the field, so we gotta go see because
okay.
Joey, I said they will beat again tonight, and exactly they can't beat again. So everybody got an error. So let's see what happens. Okay.
You get your side, get my side. Don't envy me for my side. Running mortgage for my shop. I get all. But I leave you together. To all about together. Don't run away together.
Back to the field of play this afternoon.
The way you can do me, the way you
see the new football field, eh?
Can do me the way you can.
Guess where we are tonight, folks? Let me make the football field big. Hold on, Ballah. Let me make the football field big. We're in Grand Crew. George, we are want everything in Grand Crew. Listen. That Grand Crew, yo.
The way you can do me, the way you.
George, we are ready.
The way you can do me, the way you can do me.
December 8th, we're having elections. Special elections for those who want to be senators. They're talking about the code of conduct. George, you asked what is hitting y'all? George, what is hitting y'all? So the ministers and deputy ministers went to George Weah. They say, "Oh, their code of conduct is coming." What did you say, George Weah? January, George Weah said, "You resign within 30 days if you want to run to be senator." Just when the people went back to George Weah. Mr. President,
the way you can do me, the way you can do me, the way
we're ready to resign.
The way you can do me,
George Weah said, "Don't resign. Stay in your position." See, when the Congo people here, they never obey the code of conduct. What you want can't do. Stay in your position. When you deputy minister, you minister, just stay there. When election time comes, just put your hat in the bucket and say you want vote. Like, hey.
The way you can do me, the way you can do me.
So George Weah is the number one enemy of the code of conduct in Liberia. No, the boy Jack came to the presidency to boy, yeah. There's nothing you can say about George Weah.
The way you can.
George Weah said, "You get your star, get my star."
You can do me the way you can do me.
The new field is now built in Grand Crew County, and that's small field. No score to either side. The ball comes to George Weah. George Weah, base sword man, puts it over the timber. He sends it far downfield, intended for Samuel Toy. Toy gets a better hand to Natera McGill. McGill breaks the ball. He loses the ball down to COP. So we got domestic terrorism now in Liberia, my people. Well, when you wake up soon in the morning before 5 o'clock, then they start burning tires. They block all the roads then now. Like the kind of thing we're seeing now in Liberia, my people. And it happened yet at real terrorism. Then the other people don't stay in America and say, you know what? I take responsibility of that protest. But you ain't see nothing yet. And that's one thing coming happen in our country though.
The way you can do me, the way you can do me, the way you can do me, the way you can do me.
When people then look at you for 12 years, you did what you had to do. Hey man, you're torso man. Even though Charles Taylor's presidency was short, but during the Charles Taylor's presidency, Benin was selling phone card for $65. Today, phone card at $1.99. They won't go to say that then Benin then the Vietnam, then they talking all kind of things they said about the people doing now. You know how many years Benin US sold phone card for $65 and people are buying it. We ain't see no Benin tire. Oh, we're not a point tire now.
Do me the way you can, do me the way you can, do me the way you can, do me.
This man can, you know the kind of money that Bob made. You better not you and me. $65. $65 for one scratch card. For years. Who you want to take the tree set? You can't even go in the street and say you want protest. Shout to the president, you say you won't go get vet. You barely won't go. But the other president will get, he let his pocket more than he let the people. So any of the thing I sit down, get a second mumu, he can't even talk. By the end of the day, he getting rich. Like, hey. But the presence of Charles Taylor alone will deter you from taking to the streets. George Reckon hand fly. He get there, he all about getting rich and richer. Bringing his brother-in-law in the country, other than gonna get rich at all.
The way you can do me, the way you can do me, the way you can do me.
But I don't think we're fair yet. We're holding thing all over the place. Oh, saying card at $2. They can't be $6. Where was you? When Jury was the only person selling phone card in our country. In partnership with Emmanuel Shaw and Charles Taylor. $65 for a phone call. We have fun.
The way you can do me, the way.
Let me come take my own horn too.
You can do me the way you can do me.
1996, 97. Before you already came with the phone call, right? We had less than 100 cell phones in the country. And in the media, 1997, we had only 5 people with cell phone. And guess what? Ashford Garley had a cell phone.
The way you can do me, the way you.
Somebody when you saw cell phone for the first time, you start paying $65. You think you were doing good. But we were those that introduced cell phone to the country. The giant now, and now you know me. So we've been there, done that. We don't break about it. We are trendsetters. We take the lead and they follow. Listen, this country belongs to every Liberian. You want to unseat George Weah? Please do the right thing. Go to the ballot box. Convince the people that George Weah does not mean well for the country. And then they will try to see what they can do. But how can you unseat George Weah when you are in the opposition and you're not friendly?
The way you can do me, the way.
Alexander Kome does not want to see the ground Benin Nigeria walks on. Benin Nigeria also does not want to see the ground that Alexander Kome walks on. Then you got old man Joseph Boyka, that papi, they call him Tricky Papi. They're not small papi there. Joseph Human Boyka will go to Alexander Cummings and say that Benin you man, don't worry about him. The economic crime crew hanging over here. What they doing, let him say, don't worry. You know the way I get ish on my side now, I will just appoint you to be the head of the CPP. Then Joseph Boyka will go to Benin Nigeria. Don't man that Cummings man, they know he yell. The man a stranger. Because Joseph Boyka can say this because he has 28% of the vote, right? Then now you got 1.2% white. He said he just went somewhere where you can go and just hang it on the head there because you know they can't vote for him. So yeah, and then we're gonna put on fire. But I'm telling you, folks, when I tell you Uri hates Cummings and Cummings hates Uri, you won't believe it. I'm telling you. Look, the youth chairman of the ANC just confessed that Uri bought him a pickup. Uri gave him new cell phone, and gave him $2,000 and said, I want you to leave Alexander Cummings party and come to my party. I will make you Secretary General. These are people that are supposed to be working together. They're supposed to be working together as the CPP. Now, see what they call in the CPP, the Congo People Party, the CPP, the Congo People Party. That's how they call it now. So Joseph Boyka is just dead now. He was just later on say, come and take over. And that's why you see Alexander Cummings is so confident that he will be the head of the ticket with the CPP. These people know what they're doing. Why they're fighting among themselves? The boy would say he know A from Bofra. He going from country to country. He building roads. He building homes. They must sit down there. The people will not vote for you because you get money. They will vote for you because they like you. Some of you will think that you need boss men and boss ladies. You're on your own. You're young, you're vibrant, you got talent. For you to leave that country and come abroad and learn something, when you go back to Liberia, they will celebrate you. When you sit down there, come and say jump, then you say ha ha. You will say jump, then you say ha ha. When I say jump, you say ha ha. George Weah say jump, you say ha ha. You know what I mean when George Weah calls you? Then you look at the phone, you say, hey, why not do it again? George Weah calling me. Did I send the email? What did I do wrong? Be your own boss. Be your own boss, folks. Get your star, get my star. Build something. Work hard on the job and earn a living. Work hard on yourself. Earn a fortune. Don't be a political slave to these wicked politicians. They don't mean well for you. They don't mean well for Liberia. It's all about self-interest. But now you know me.
All right, I'm about to.
We're out of time, my brother. Your partner coming.
But you know what I don't get, Mr. Garley?
I said we are out of time. We didn't even dive into the next segment.
I know. No, I don't get it.
I went on to talk about healthcare, the healthcare system, which is very vital. But again, who's going to pay for the hour?
Yeah.
My man.
We'll do another time. Actually, hopefully we can call my platform and we can do it. But okay, my partner comments are these. Once again, Mr. Garley, the utmost respect, and we're going to talk off camera. Okay, like I said, you are. I told you the other day when you were doing a show, you are one of the most charismatic voices Liberia has, and not just the voice. But you mean a lot to the country, and I'm so grateful that God has blessed you to still be in this position to go about what you've always been doing from time immemorial. You're not that old, but it's been a while since you've been doing it, and I'm very grateful, man, to be a part of this platform. I just want to quickly say as I leave, once again, This has been a very awesome opportunity. I do recognize that amongst the social media, Facebook pundits, I am a distinction because I'm not approaching things from the political point of view, and that's totally fine, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And the reason for that is because I realize that in as much as you want to be the political pundit or whatever it is insignificant to Liberia becoming anything. A lot of my brothers and sisters who are doing it are after their self-interest, and that's a fact. And I know there will be more nice, wonderful comments of mine. I look forward to seeing those beautiful comments. But a lot of my brothers and sisters in the politics and all this stuff, they're doing it for their own self-interest, not necessarily because they care about the country. They project it that way, but that's not exactly what the facts are. So you can talk politics from now to Judgment Day. If you want Liberia to start being important, for people to look like Liberia, like you're looking at Ghana, we're sitting down there talking politics all day. Ghana is doing a year of return. Meaning we should be doing that because the slaves repatriated to Africa. Liberia was the biggest place that they went to, but Ghana has stolen that from us. And yet we're talking politics all day. We are intellectuals, but we can do nothing to fix the country. So you keep on your politics. Those of us will continue to execute on what's needed. Liberia's endemic mental problem that all of us suffer from, we need to fix. So that's going to be my, anytime you see me on Facebook, that's what I'm going to be executing on. You will never hear me talking about coming should win, we should win. I don't care about that stuff because that's not what's going to fix Liberia. Once again, utmost respect to my big brother, Mr. Ashford Garley. This has been an amazing opportunity. Utmost respect to Dr. Peters and everybody else who gave their comments and commented how our match go and all of that. I respect all of you guys, and I thank you guys, whether you like me or not. I respect you. I love you as Liberians, and I hope the best for you. I hope that God bless you in your endeavors. But at the end of the day, no matter how long you talk politics from now to Judgment Day, your political shows will do nothing to fix Liberia. It will make you feel good, give your candidates some popularity, but Liberia's problem will remain as it is for perpetuity. So let's face the problem where it is. We have a mental problem, including myself. I'm a supreme culprit in that regard. We need to fix that. Let's address it, and let's be serious about wanting to be relevant on this God's green earth and stop playing Lulu, Monopoly, Snake, and a lotto with our country. That's it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Have a good night. Everybody has his or her style, you know. Let me tell you one thing. If you don't put your art together, we will have to deal with George Weah for a long time. Vivian Eastman, my lovely sister Vivian Eastman, Michael Bow, Smith Delaware, Howard Meska, Rose George Common. Back to the field of play. The ball comes to George Weah. George Weah beats Swarman. Puts it up for the team. Will he make it? He doesn't. George Weah connects Simon Toy to McGill. Toy back to McGill. McGill back to Toy. Will he make it? Then the ball comes back to Bill Twirl. Bill Twirl to 17 continent. Onto Mr. Blanc. Back to 17 continent. Onto Opion King Call. Then the ball comes by the D. Who cover? Will he make it? No, he doesn't. The ball has quickly been taken away by domestic terrorism. There's one thing to go against the government. And there's another thing to cause trouble. I am not a radical. I'm not a troublemaker. Yes, I have a voice. I have a big mouth. I just don't let the people get hurt. Yes, I look at the war. My father was murdered because of the senseless war. My uncles and aunts got murdered because of the senseless war. Sitting in America here, we organize ourselves. We want to start getting money. We're asking people to give you money. At the end of the day, when they give money, when the money plenty, then you support nonsense in that country. This nonsense has got to stop. If you're in the position, in the opposition, and they think you're so powerful, if you start engaging the voters. If this George Weah man is a problem, engage the voters and tell the people to not vote for George Weah. If it's a You sit down in the comfort of your home. And innocent people get in the street. You get injured. On the egg and chicken thigh, eating bread with butter. People can't find food to eat. I will say this again. The way you can, you know, I used to be with the COP, right? And I did what I had to do back then. I'm not with them anymore. I beg you. So when they call in, people need that. They might just call it. They might not say that Ashford wife or something. That they call her name. I will say, I beg you. I'm not part of COP. Me, I'm not part of any party now. To myself. At the end of the day, me, I like trouble. And I'm Joe, we are friends. George Weah came, he started stealing from the country. I don't like that. The people who asking George Weah to start stealing, they said we need to get in land to start stealing too. And I don't like it. So because of that, I will not support anybody. I will just stay in the middle and I will ask the tough questions. So every Thursday when we come, we'll play the football game, we'll talk. We'll talk on Thursday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll do the politics. We'll ask the people the tough questions. Don't run away. At the end of the day, somebody's child will be in jail. Somebody's child will get killed. You can't do me the way you can't do me. You lay now, you on air condition, you enjoying yourself. You're having sex 3-4 times in one night. But the people there, they between life and death. What kind of nonsense this? That country did to you now, or that country friend? George Weah get up, he said, to hell with the code of conduct. You're my minister, you're my deputy minister, you won't be a senator or something, just go there. The Congo people there, they ain't regard the code of conduct. They don't regard the code of conduct. Just go there, man. Some people actually want to resign. George Weah actually don't resign. Go there. So George Weah, you have the energy to tell the people not to resign. But you don't got the balls to tell the people about the law and order in the country. Eh? Look, I saw Charles Taylor perform in our country. The people selling gas, they say they can't sell gas. Charles Taylor said before 12 o'clock, if you don't open your gas station, if you don't put your Tesla in the street, your gas station should remain closed forever. Your Tesla should remain packed. Before 10:45, gas station will open all over the place. Tesla driver they were running. You got a president who just concerned about himself. You the only one that know how to come. You the only one that can function from the waist below. What kind of trouble with CISO? That bad to make you president. I say, send the both people giving all hard time now. You the president now, so that it. The way you can do me, the way Joseph Yuma Boyka is so ungrateful. Ellen Johnson Sally saw all the Congo people. She didn't choose them. She chose you. She said, Joseph Yuma Boyka can't be my running mate. And you sign a deal that you myself will go together. But I order some of all country people, then we so greedy. Ellen said we sign contract. They 12 years when they 12 years finish, we retire together. Oh, you say you're a race car, you park. You want to restart the race car not to go again. Oh, you say you might start telling people. I'm a party there now. That one time finish. But you don't know that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is the Maradona of Liberian politics. Sometimes in life you have to be grateful to people. So all the Congo people, then she left, then she chose you as a countryman for Wasonga from Lofa County. And she can't be my vice president. At the end of the day, when she was leaving, she said, look, you say, I'm going. My time to be president. It's okay. You won't challenge me. So Ellen destroyed the country in 12 years. Her sons came, they're all rich, they're all millionaires. I can smoke my own cigar in the public, but they can't smoke a cigar because they're shame. They're hiding their riches and things. But at the end of the day, look, listen, how many cars you need to drive? How big of a house do you want?
No enemy for my star. Wow.
Joseph Walker ain't stop playing in you. When you get ready, you tell you better not you don't mind that Cummings man. That Cummings man, you know, he had been out of here for long. If I bring like he said, then better not you'll be laughing. Joseph Walker on my side. Then Joseph Walker will go on the other side and say, Cummings, don't mind that you man. The man gets on a stick my way with the chat to the connection. He can't be president of the country. That you will be the head of the ticket. Just give him a latin. And then what can put a fire. Just give him a latin. And that's why Cummings is brave today. He's telling everybody say he will be the president of Liberia. He will be the head of the CPP. Because the pape they call Joseph Human Boyka. And that small devil there, that pape, that big here. By the end of the day, the Liberian people will continue to suffer. Because these politicians are useless. They are wicked. It's all about themselves. Can you imagine? The people then who are in Ellen Shelley government, they're not in power. Guess what they are?
All the money they are able to save. It's like it's so much in the you know, you also are looking in. Now they're trying to see what's going to happen next. They can come out again. And if you stick to Nigeria, God has the way of punishing you. In a bono window, you can offer. Yes, a couple says that. See the way all companies are. When I say, oh, she's there. People can ask them. I used to eat something like, oh, one ass man that both guys and the smelly people. Get themselves if they figure something out. Go first.
But I can't pinpoint to any politician that would say, yeah, you made me. Go first. I made myself because when you come in America, I don't want to be this other again. When you come in one of the best places on earth, when you come to America, as long as you're willing to work hard and play by the rule, sky's the limit. Folks, I'm afraid that's all the time I have to be with you. I want to go back to Information Highway where Mrs. Letty Brooks Rabbits is standing by. Mrs. Rabbits. Mrs. Roberts, waiting for you. You tired? We're looking for Mrs. Roberts, but she's not answering. Maybe she's tired. You can come by and hear us. But with that said, folks, to my younger brothers and sisters in Liberia, yeah, Michael Bull there. Michael Bull saw us growing up. We worked at the radio station. We hustle, man. When we were on the radio, we made our salary. My salary at ERBC, folks. Listen, this is real talk. Was $10 US. We were so passionate for what we did at broadcasters in Liberia. My salary was $10. Today I'm paying people triple that. And guess what? I was trained as a production assistant, producer, executive producer. When I came to America, went to one of the best radio and television institutions in the world. I was trained as on-air talent. And I have people working for me in Liberia. All I ask, get me guests, gather the news. They want me to do it for them. And I pay them on time. You think it's fair? And then when I go ahead and fire some people and then they say, oh, they man, but no, you can't do that. Work ethic, man, we don't have. We want to receive, but we don't want to work. You have lawmakers who work twice a week, making $15,000. Take the job from them. 3 months later, They're homeless. They're walking by line. They can't do without government jobs. You call that a serious country? It's a country, friend. Pray for long life. Pray for good health. Work hard on the job and living. Work hard on yourself and the fortune. That's the motivational speaker, Jim Brown. And he also says sometime in life, you got to tell people no and don't feel bad. Tell them, say, you know what, I don't think so now. But if anything changes, I will call you. What's the best number to reach you? Folks, with that said, that's all the time I have to be with you. Please allow me to borrow the wordings of the wise man. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. The height of a man is never known until he rises. And there's no second chance to make that first impression. Don't see okra and swallow bone. When women know your friend black man. This has been yours truly. C'est tout pas yege. C'est bon blow that I jack me on treji. Would no more zoom or one year mad double. Boro blight, but they call your boro say. A jambe. You put on Croix Rouge. Macori Zone 4. Merci pour votre contribution. Et puis merci pour votre invitation. Dunguto, Tanzania, Abariago, Amane Akolja, Senegal, Nagadef, Megadifrema, Nigeria. Last time when I call you, not be sure how you give me. You don't tell me see your mama don't sick. Then now you know me. Folks, Monday, we will have the former executive director of the National Investment Commission as our special guest, Mr. George Wisner. He wants to be the chairman of the Unity Party. On Tuesday, we'll have Mr. Ami Modad, the businessman, the owner of the Ballah Kemah Hotel. He also wants to be the chairman of Unity Party. On Wednesday of next week, we'll have Mr. Ase Vatokpa, the former chairman of CDC USA, will be our special guest. And folks, I'm telling you, this is what we ask the tough questions. We're respectful. We'll bring you in and we'll just ask you the tough questions and allow our audience to listen to you and they can respond to you as well. This is yours truly, folks. The medicine of the microphone. Ashford the Giant, the golden voice of Liberia. Have a good night.